Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell, coming to you on a Thanksgiving Monday. I feel a big bout of anticipation getting ready for some turkey dinner tonight. I'm pretty excited about that. Excited to welcome in Jason to talk about the weekend in sports, and happy Thanksgiving to you, Jason. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, no problem, man. Happy Thanksgiving right back to you. I had my Thanksgiving dinner earlier on Saturday. It was
Nice.
delicious. And I did remember to bring my Tupperware, so I got some extras. I'll be
Sweet.
eating extras for a while.
Oh, good for you. Good thinking.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's always an awesome weekend here. I wished a lot of friends and family happy Thanksgiving. Even my American cousins and my Aussie family and stuff. It's always good to spread the word. A lot of people that aren't in Canada kind of forget that it is this weekend, but yeah, it's really great. I celebrate American Thanksgiving too, so I'm going to get 2 turkeys in a little over a month, and that's good. But yeah, I can't believe how much excitement I have over dinner tonight.
Well, as you should, because I know that your girlfriend's a great cook.
Yeah.
So, and she's absolutely fantastic. One of these days, I'm going to actually have to sample some of that. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I would be excited too, because I was excited for Saturday.
Yeah, good, good. Yeah, well, yeah, it was a nice weekend weather-wise. Holy cow, we really got treated to some spectacular weather. On Saturday, we were downtown on Main Street. We hit a patio down there, and we were sitting there, and it felt scorching hot. I was sweating. Everybody was just sweating. We were like, this is shocking. Like, this is first week of October, and it's not supposed to be this nice, but it was unseasonably warm, and it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think it got to a high of like 26 degrees Celsius or something like that. So, yes, unseasonably warm. Yeah, there's no such thing as global warming. Of course, that's not a thing. But yeah, it was cool though. It was nice to actually have like a nice weekend like that, and especially when it's this late into the fall.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm glad you got some leftovers and you got dinners covered. Lots of good sports over the weekend. UFC didn't have the greatest card. Bellator had a 300 card that I was super excited for. Bit disappointed with the whole kind of outcome of it. It really sort of was a bit of a dud, in my opinion. Not the greatest. I was very excited about it, and it just didn't deliver. So we'll break that down in a little while. Lots to talk about in week 5 of the NFL. A few other goings on. I felt that FOMO quite a bit yesterday afternoon. I was feeling pretty lousy about it when I saw the Toronto Raptors tip off against the Sacramento Kings here in Vancouver, and realized that I wasn't there. I should have been, wanted to be. Unfortunately, ticket prices just sort of were too crappy, and it was sold out so fast, and automatically there was tickets for that second seller's market on there, and I just couldn't justify paying it for a preseason game. But I did feel a little bit bad when I had to watch it a little bit on TV.
Yeah, I can get that. I get that. Actually, again, on Saturday, my friend took his boys actually to that game. So I was curious about how much did you pay for those tickets, my friend?
Yeah.
I think he managed to get them right away because he was online. He managed to get them. I think it was $80 upper deck, like one of the first rows.
Okay.
And so I was like, not bad.
That's reasonable. Yeah.
That's reasonable, as opposed to what the second seller's market would be, which is probably even double that. So
yeah. It was like I couldn't find a ticket for under 150, and that was the worst seat in the house. And most every ticket was 200, 300, $400, and it just didn't seem right. For a preseason game, I was like, you're going to get to see some of the guys that are going to be starters few minutes, and then you're going to get to see the entire bench. And is it is it really that worth it for me? You know, I have to buy 2 tickets. So, you know, we're talking 3, 4, $500 for, you know, that outing. I just couldn't justify it.
No, and I get it. I understand it because if you're going to spend that much money, you would like to see the superstars of
Yeah.
each team step onto the court.
Yeah.
And since it's the first preseason game, there's no guarantee of that even happening at
Yeah.
all.
Well, I've got the starting lineups in front of me here, and immediately I thought, holy cow, they actually look like they put the starting lineups on there. I didn't
Okay.
watch the entire game. I went through it quick. But they had Schroeder, point guard, Scotty Barnes, shooting guard. Then they had OG, Pascal, and Jakob Pertl was the starting lineup for the Raptors. For the Kings, it was De'Aaron Fox, Kevin Huerter, Keegan Murray, Harrison Barnes, and Domantas Sabonis. So all those guys started, and you know, they played a bunch of minutes in the first quarter. So you know, that's who I would have wanted to see. So it just felt a little bit even more of the knife in the gut when I saw that they actually had the, you know, the main starters all in there. As I said, I don't know how many minutes they played. It was horrible basketball though. The first quarter was 35-35 after one, and there was no defense whatsoever. It was like an all-star game. And so, you know, I thought, okay, there's another check mark for don't care if I missed it, you know, and the whole entire time I'm watching the broadcast, I'm like, all right, check mark for good, check mark for bad. And, you know, in the end, oh, well, I guess you know, I can't take it back now. I did miss it, but, you know, as I said, preseason game, and, you know, the pricing was the one that took me out of it.
And it's always like that for the preseason games, right? Like where you think, okay, it would be great to kind of see these guys play a little bit, but at the same time, the basketball's not great because they're not completely locked in. What they're trying to do is probably figure out like defensive switches, like offensive plays that they want to run and all that sort of stuff. They're trying to doing the tweaks, right?
Yeah,
And at the same time, there's probably some other guys that are maybe on the bubble of getting on the team, so they want to get a better look at those certain players as well. So there's a lot of other things going on, but like actually being serious about the game, that's kind of not the point. Almost.
I was there. The last time the Raptors played here was actually I think they said 2018. So we're talking 5 years ago now, I guess it was. You know, wasn't impressed with the basketball. You know, I did see just, you know, developing the players. This was the very first preseason game of the year. So, you know, I fully expected, especially new coach, new system, new guys. The guy that got the most fan appreciation was Grady Dick. Great to see him out on the floor every time when he entered the game, every time he touched the ball, when he was on the floor and involved, the fan support seemed to be amazing. This guy is going to be, you know, definitely a fan favorite, and he's got that great shot, hit a few nice threes, and looked good out there. I think he's going to bring even more than just those outside threes to the team, and I think it was a very good draft pick and a good addition to the squad.
Oh yeah, no, they needed a real shooter, and I think he can definitely provide that for them. And also too, he's got a great personality. He's got actually fantastic personality. So yeah, good locker room guy.
I did watch some other preseason games over the weekend briefly. One game that I was really looking forward to was the Golden State Lakers game. And there was a couple plays in the game where I saw what the Warriors saw when they tried to get Chris Paul, when they wanted to bring him in. There's been a lot of you know, uncertainty. How's this guy going to be able to fit into this team, and why and how is it going to work? Is he going to start? Is he going to be a second guy off the bench? Blah, blah, blah. There was a couple plays there where I'm like, wow, this could be so dynamic. He was setting screens, making beautiful passes to Steph. And there was one moment where the entire stadium just stood and cheered and roared, because it was like one of those moments where you're like, did you just see that? Like, holy cow, that is spectacular. And yeah, it gave me renewed optimism for him being on this team and trying to fit in with this squad.
It makes sense that it should work, to be honest with you, because if you think about it, he is one of the best point guards to ever play the game.
Yeah.
All right. So if he's one of those guys, he should be able to figure out, how do I get the ball to the dude that just runs around like a maniac all game?
Yeah.
Wait, I should actually be able to figure this
Be
out.
able to do that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I guess with Draymond Green out, they think he's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. So maybe the first couple weeks of the season, Steve Kerr and the coaching staff are going to be able to try to implement him right away. I think he's going to be starting. They're going to have Klay Thompson step up into a small forward role and cover a lot more of those guys because he's so good defensively. And yeah, they're gonna, Steve Kerr is gonna be able to utilize this preseason and the early part of the year to bring him in and have him as a starter, and have the squad before Draymond comes back and sort of puts it to a more normal lineup.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Like, they're just trying to get by until Draymond comes back, and then you got your defensive stalwart back there and the captain and all of that, all of those things he brings to the table. So just to get by, yeah, for sure. They'll do what they need to do.
I'm looking forward to the preseason. Preseason to me is definitely a big step down. I remember talking to you about the summer league, and I tried to give it my best shot, and I just had so much trouble watching it. And then I was, enjoying the World Cup of basketball, and that was a lot of fun. And it just wasn't the same as the NBA. And then I'm subjected to some preseason, and I'm watching some bad basketball again. So I less than a month away from seeing regular season basketball. Very excited. There'll be lots for you and I to break down and talk about as the season gets closer. We'll do a really good season opener preview and stuff show, and that I'm looking forward to that a lot.
I'm definitely looking forward to that. I'm definitely looking forward to the start of the season. And yet again, the preseason it's just a little teaser before you get to the real thing, right?
Yeah. Also over the weekend, watched a lot of MLB playoff baseball. We haven't done a podcast since the Blue Jays got eliminated. Super big, disappointing punch to the gut, punch to the face, whatever you want to say. 162 games. They make the playoffs. You're like, yes, they did it. This is great. 2 days later, boom, they get ousted. And a big thunderous thud of a horrible way to end a season. Man, the scathing comments, the abuse that have been hurled the Blue Jays' way on Twitter and social media, and fire this guy, get rid of the team, get rid of everybody. I don't remember hearing and seeing the fan base have this much of a adverse reaction, and just clean house. I'm not going to support this team anymore. F these guys. It was ugly, and I kind of think it was deserved too, because it was one of the most disappointing exits that I've ever seen in Blue Jays history, and it was it's been met with a lot of scrutiny for sure.
Did they get blown out every game?
Yeah, they scored one run in 2 games, got beat both games, knocked out immediately, and it was it was a very bad performance. John Schneider, their manager, made a huge mistake pulling out their pitcher when the pitcher was pitching fantastically. The guy they brought in gave up the winning runs immediately. Their so-called superstar, Vladdy Guerrero, made a massive base running error. He was on second base. He would have been the tying run in the game. And he starts dancing around, and he didn't realize that the shortstop had come in behind him. The pitcher threw it to second base and picked him off second base. And he looked like a complete fool laying on the ground with his hand on the base, like, please review it. And he was out by a mile. It was pretty bad. And oh man, just like on and on and on. I could point to just so many things that they did wrong. They couldn't get any hits when they needed to in the 2 games. And they had reached that great bracket side, and it looked like, okay, they can beat Minnesota. They get a chance at Houston. They can go forward. And boom, 2 days later, they were out. And it's been ugly for social media and seeing all the people that are just so choked on how badly they bombed in the playoffs.
I've always been of the mind, like, especially when the manager is just like, they're watching the pitch count of the pitchers.
Yeah.
If the guy is pitching the lights out,
Yeah.
let him keep going.
Yeah.
I have never understood the fact of, well, he got to 70. That's it. Pull him. Like,
Yeah.
and you're just like, well, what are you talking about? The guy could have like a perfect game here. And you're like, that's it though.
Gone.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. He had thrown 47 pitches, and he was the guy, nobody was hitting him at all. He was just dealing. And the manager, John Schneider, even said, that's the best he's pitched all season. Like, I haven't seen those kind of, and the crazy thing was, he's a former Minnesota Twin. They're playing in Minnesota. He has the record for the most wins, active pitcher for the most wins in Minnesota. So he's comfortable pitching there on the road, absolutely nailing everybody, striking everybody out. Nobody's getting hits. And they just walk out and pull him. You know, it's like the 4th inning. And they bring in a guy, and the guy immediately gives up the lead and gives up runs, so they're behind. And it was really a dumb move. A lot of people blamed it on analytics and a lot of the sort of geeks in the organization that are crunching numbers and seeing things, and said to him, but a manager should be able to see with his eyes what we all saw, and keep the guy in there. I think the Twins were immediately super happy once that guy was gone. We're like, okay, let's bring on the next guy. We can't hit this guy. So, and it backfired big time.
Well, yeah, because analytics play a role, but you're the manager.
Yeah.
You should know how your players roll. You should know how they go. And if that guy is gaming, then keep him in. Just be like, analytics guys, shut up. Don't care.
Yeah.
Keep playing.
Yeah. The general manager, Ross Atkins, he took the podium the other day, and everybody started asking him, was this your call? Was this call from above? Who made that call? And he said, no, I was just as surprised as you were when he made that move. And so everybody's like, oh, he's kind of throwing Schneider under the bus here, and then they're like, is Schneider back next year? And he said, yeah. So, nobody knows what the hell's going on, but it was just a very, very terrible move. And from a, rookie manager that, I saw make a lot of mistakes this year. And I really started questioning, maybe he's, not the right guy for this team. And, that didn't change my opinion. And, this is a team that was poised to, they were, on paper supposed to be contending for an AL championship and go to the World Series this year before the season began. And they've really underperformed to finish the season 2 years in a row, just squeaking into the playoffs, immediately getting knocked out in the first 2 games. This isn't acceptable for a team that spends hundreds of millions of dollars on their payroll and has, the hopes and dreams of all the Canadian baseball fans out there. It's just really not acceptable. And things like this shouldn't happen with a major league manager making big mistakes like this.
Yes, it shouldn't happen. But at the same time, he's young in this particular role, so he's going to make mistakes. You just hope that they're not going to be as egregious as they were when the lights are on you the most. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's hope. So the rest of MLB continues on. There are 3 games today. They're all 5-game series. The Philadelphia Phillies took a 1-game lead into their series. They won 3-0 on Saturday. They play the Braves today. First pitch is 3:07. Zach Wheeler goes for the Phillies and Max Fried for the Braves. Braves are favored minus 155, and this one Phil's plus 125. Oh no, there's just 2 games tonight. Game 2 tonight, Diamondbacks versus Dodgers. First pitch is 6:07 for that one. Game 1 was just an absolute beatdown. Clayton Kershaw came in, gave up 6 runs, only got 1 out, and was just beat bad. They ended up 11-2 win for Arizona in this one. Kershaw is a Hall of Fame pitcher. Is going to the Hall of Fame as soon as he retires, but really struggles in the postseason. And this was his worst outing of his entire career. Not sure what happened. Not sure how they had his number, but it was bizarre beginning for a Dodgers team that's expected to be the National League representative in the World Series.
Yeah, a little bizarre. Sometimes, when a guy is like that, like he's most certainly a Hall of Famer. He's got all the game in the world, but like when he gets into that position, all of a sudden there's something goes on in his head, right?
Yeah.
It's a mental block.
Yeah.
So hopefully he can get over that, because I think they're going to need him to pitch really well if they want to win.
Yeah. Oh, big time. Yeah. He's super important for that team. So tonight it's a rookie actually taking the mound, Bobby Miller for the Dodgers. First ever playoff game for him. Diamondbacks have Zach Gallen on the mound. Dodgers are favored in this one against the Diamondbacks. And then the other series go tomorrow. Astros and Twins. They're tied at 1 game each. 1:07 first pitch for that series. 5:07 first pitch for the Texas Rangers, who are surprising the Baltimore Orioles. Orioles were far and away the best team in the AL this year. Down 0-2 to Texas. Pretty surprising there. And then we've got those series continue. NHL regular season kicks off tomorrow. First games of the season. There's a triple header. Nashville Predators and Tampa Bay Lightning kick off the first game, 2:30 Pacific. Then the Chicago Blackhawks and Connor Bedard face the Sidney Crosby Penguins. That's 5 o'clock. In the last game, the Vegas Golden Knights get to raise their Stanley Cup banner to the rafters, and they play the Seattle Kraken. It'll be fun to watch all those games, especially seeing Vegas celebrate their Stanley Cup title. And then Wednesday, all the Canadian teams hit the ice for their first game. Canucks is a 7 o'clock puck drop here, Rogers Arena, against Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and the Oilers. I'm predicting 6-0 win by the Oilers, kicking off the Canucks' great season. Another year out of the playoffs, probably. Toronto, Montreal play. Ottawa plays Carolina, and the Jets and the Flames are the last game of the night. So a few other games on the slate, but yeah, pretty tough for the schedule makers. For the Canucks, have to face probably the best team in the conference. Maybe Colorado and Edmonton are going to battle it out for that title, but Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, both picked as the top 2 players in the NHL right now. Not a great beginning for the Canucks.
No, it doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound good at all. And especially with what you just said there, like we're probably going to miss the playoffs again. So my question to you is, when do you think they could possibly make the playoffs again?
The way it's been going, like 2032, I don't know, man. Like, geez, like I don't know. I sure don't have much hope for this team. They have not. They've been in the playoffs once in the past 8 years, and it's just it's a mess. It has been a mess. We'll see this Rick Tocchet era. Maybe he can turn this thing around, but geez, not very hopeful.
Okay, that's cool. Well, at least they're playing the game, so that's that's something.
After that 10-0 beatdown the first preseason game against Calgary, I lost quite a bit of hope that I might have even mustered this for this year. So yeah, hopefully hopefully it's not a just complete smashing debacle opening night, or it could be pretty cavernous in the arena most of the year.
Yeah, that kind of sucks because like we have a lot of fans here that are passionate about the team, and like I just hope that like for the first 1 or 2 weeks it's just not a losing streak, because
Yeah.
that would really suck.
That would really suck. I know, big time. Yeah, let's see if they can keep it together. Let's hope. In the F1, Max Verstappen won his third world championship. He actually won it on Saturday. They have a sprint race that you can get points on. He ended up finishing second place. He only needed like sixth place, and he took it. He's got such a lead that he could sit out the rest of the year and nobody would catch him. So he is the champion, third year in a row. Absolutely masterful driving. He won the Grand Prix race yesterday. He had the pole position. First corner, they come around the corner. The Mercedes-Benz drivers ended up crashing into each other, knocking both of them off the course. Lewis Hamilton knocked out of the race, first turn of the race. And then the McLarens were able to pass by them. They ended up finishing on the podium for the second week in a row, second and third. And Lewis Hamilton ended up getting fined £50,000 after the race because he got out of his car and he was so angry that he left his car and he went back towards the pit area and he crossed the track when you're not supposed to. Luckily, he didn't get hit, but he was like 2 seconds away from getting hit, actually by his teammate. George Russell was coming around and he crossed, and 2 seconds later, boom, Russell was there. If he would have got hit, he would have been killed for sure. And so they were, really angry at him. He had to face a disciplinary hearing. They said if he does, anything like that the rest of the season, there's going to be massive repercussions. Yeah, it was scary. It was, he was, to be that frustrated, I understand, but to put your life on the line and, everything, it was very reckless.
Super reckless. Like it's like I understand being angry, but those cars are going real fast, right? So if you're on the track,
yeah.
like if that thing hits you, you're going to be obliterated.
Yeah.
Gone. Yeah.
Well, I was at one of the Indy races here where a track worker got killed, and the car was going like very slow, and he just ended up behind the one tire. As soon as it hit him, just sucked him under the tire, immediately killed him. Like it was just, and I think the car was, I don't know what the car was traveling, but it looked slow, and he was just immediately killed. So yeah, there wouldn't have been anything left to Lewis Hamilton if he got hit, at full speed from a guy. And yeah, it was really shocking, and I was very surprised with it. But all in all, an amazing season for Red Bull. Great to see McLaren ending in the mix this last part of the year after the summer break. They seem to be able to make some adjustments and changes and to reach the podium. Both of their guys, Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, to be second and third 2 weeks in a row. Fantastic. Mercedes was really exciting and excited. They were second and third heading into this race, but unfortunately, Lewis made two huge mistakes, and luckily, it didn't become fatal. But let's hope we don't see anybody make a mistake like this again.
I don't think so, because you may be mad, you may be angry, you may be frustrated, but at the end of the day, I think everybody just wants to go home to see their families.
Yeah.
So
totally.
I think that's the thing that the officials want known. It's just like, this is for everybody's safety. Yeah. Can't do that.
Can't
like
do
even
that.
For me, knowing that you did that, I was like, "Are you your freaking mind?"
Yeah, it was a shock. It was a very big shock that he did that. So, Okay, let's get to the world of the NFL. We're going to talk about the UFC, some Bellator, and a few news and notes after that. But let's go to the world of football. When you make a wish after or as you're about to blow out candles on a birthday cake, or you look up in the sky and you see a star and you make a wish, do you have a typical wish that you wish for? Do you have can you remember the last time you made a wish in that type of a fashion?
Yeah, and it didn't come true.
Didn't come true. Okay.
No, 'cause I just said if it's not a big deal, God, lottery. Can I win a lottery?
Okay.
Can I do that? And it didn't happen. So I'm
No.
like, it's a big deal. Sorry, I won't. I'll ask for something easier. Like maybe can I get a can of Coke? Can I do that?
Yeah. Well, they say it doesn't come true if you tell people about it. Yours are long gone, so you're fine now. You can make some, new wishes next year. But I'm going to start making this wish. I know I'm going to say it out loud, so it might not come true. But I'm praying. I don't know when you make that wish on the birthday cake, do you pray to God, or do you just is it praying to the universe, or who is that wish actually supposed to be going to?
Anybody, okay, so I would say it like this. Anybody that is powerful enough to make it happen.
Okay.
God, alien, I don't care. Just as long as it happens.
I'm making a wish that I can be brought back to be the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers or the Miami Dolphins. That is my wish going forward. I think that would be the greatest job in the world. And I would love to be anchoring those two offenses. I think I could do a good job. I think both those quarterbacks are great, but I think with those two offenses, I could do a good job and I would have a fantastic life moving forward.
Okay, yeah, let's go with that. All right, cool. So then let's go with this as well, that I would be your top number one receiver on either team. And then we'd just be a dynamic duo. We would be as good as Brady and Moss. That good.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's do it. Yeah. Okay. Well, you keep making that wish. I'll make mine. Maybe the double power of it makes it happen. maybe. I just my favorite team is the Chargers. My favorite NFC team is the Eagles. I really want the Eagles to win the championship. I'd love it if the Chargers and I kind of don't know if I'd love it if the Chargers and Eagles were both in it, but I want one of them to win the title. But I think for the good of the NFL, wouldn't it be incredible if Miami and San Francisco could meet each other and the entire NFL starts copying these two franchises and makes this exciting brand of football that we get every week from every team?
That would be awesome, because if that were to happen, that would be an offensive explosion of a game. Like that would just be fantastic. It definitely wouldn't be a defensive battle. I'll tell you that.
No, that 49ers game last night against the Cowboys, that was just unbelievable. It showed there's levels to this game, and it really showed that the 49ers are on just a different level than the Cowboys, and we should start there. Just tell me what you thought about the Sunday nighter. What a display, an absolute beatdown, 42-10. The Niners put it on the Cowboys, and that was the game of the weekend, in my opinion. And it really kind of was a bit of a dud because it was such a blowout, but just to watch that team operate and see a guy like George Kittle getting in the mix. And we didn't even mention him for the last 3-4 weeks. We just talked about all the other weapons. And then suddenly now, hey, George Kittle's in the mix, 3 touchdowns. What an offensive explosion, and what a team this is.
Like, they're just so dominant. And that's the one thing that's been showing through week after week. They are just a dominant team.
Amazing.
Kittle, 3 receptions, 67 yards, 3 touchdowns. He caught the ball 3 times and he scored 3 times. I don't think there's anything more I need to say. It's just okay, that was awesome. But that's the thing with the 49ers. Any one of those guys can go off. Like even who's this dude? Mason. He was the leading rusher. I don't know where he came from.
Yeah.
He scored a touchdown.
I know.
And I'm like,
Yeah, I
all
know.
right, cool.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing. I know. I was thinking the same thing when I'm looking at it. I'm like, Mason. I don't even remember putting this guy in the. Who did he? Where did he come from? Like,
Yeah.
I've been talking about some of their other running backs most of the year, and then they get this guy in, and he's great too. You know, like you can put it. That's why I'm saying, put me in there, coach. I can do this thing. Like,
Yeah, it's just it's absolutely incredible. Like
yeah,
they're just so dominant, and Brock Purdy, that guy's not Mr. Irrelevant anymore. That's for sure. Like that nickname is gone. No, don't ever say that in front of that man face ever again.
yeah,
17 and 24, 252 yards, 4 touchdowns. The one thing that really impresses me about Purdy, he doesn't turn over the football.
no.
He doesn't do that. Like it's just he's perfect for the Shanahan offense. He's just absolutely perfect.
And the 49ers were famous for that West Coast offense, and Joe Montana coming in there, Steve Young, guys that really didn't turn over the ball, but they were just really short little bullet passes. You know, they would just get a guy out 4 or 5 yards, bam, and then get him to make all the plays. Brock Purdy's throwing the ball down the field. He's making long plays, and he's not turning over the ball. We're seeing on the other side of the field, Dak Prescott threw 3 straight picks on 3 straight drives, trying to do what Brock Purdy was just doing, trying to bring this team back. And they were like, all right, thanks, Dak, pass it to me now. And just the absolute amazing maturity for a guy this young, this green coming in, unheralded, and being able to just fire bullet passes all over the field, short, long, everywhere, utilize his running backs, and then just pepper the field with all his receivers. A lot of the throws are just super accurate, and the receiver is the only guy that can make the catch. It's what you want in a quarterback, to make those types of precision passes.
Yeah, it's absolutely what you want to see. It's absolutely what you want to see. Like, and the fact that I love the fact that he came out of nowhere. Like,
Yeah.
he literally came out of nowhere. Kind of like 2 quarterbacks come to mind who had the same sort of path. Kurt Warner,
Right.
and obviously Tom Brady.
Right.
Those two, they did the same thing. They came out of nowhere and that took the NFL by storm. Exactly what this guy's doing. Except, I think one big difference is I think his offense was better than theirs when they stepped in.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he's got the weapons, so he just got to utilize his poise and the game plan. I'm really impressed and blown away by what the Niners are bringing. I also love that Christian McCaffrey, not a spectacular game, but he still gets his touchdown, keeps that streak going, 14 straight games and continuing on. They just started, to me, becoming that elite team that everybody's got to chase now in that conference. What about on the other side of the ball, the Cowboys? Everybody talked about the Cowboys defense being super vaunted, incredible. Micah Parsons really shouldn't have even bothered to get on the plane because he didn't do anything. Like his numbers were like less than anything. It was crazy. Like he just wasted his entire week going to Santa Clara Stadium because he was a non-factor whatsoever. No other team has done that. It's been since 1990 that a team has been outscored in their 5th game more points than they had combined allowed in the first 4 games.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
They had only allowed 41 points in those first 4 games, and they allowed 42 in the one game yesterday. So the Niners, even though Dallas's defense is supposed to be one of the greatest in the NFL, and even maybe in history, they're talking about, they got exposed yesterday by this Shanahan offense and all the weapons that are on there.
Yeah, and I think the Cowboys defense is still really good. It's just that the 49ers offense is just that much better.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it right now. They're just that much better. Because even if you try to take away one of their weapons, let's say, okay, we're just going to key in on McCaffrey. Oh, so you're just going to let Kittle just run free? Oh, and can catch 3 touchdowns on just 3 throws? Awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
who do you want to key on next? What about that other running back, Mason, dude? He's killing us, and I've never even heard of him before. You know,
Yeah.
like it's like pick your poison with that team, and then whatever you pick, that's going to be the wrong one.
Yeah, no, it was an amazing display. Niners are 5-0 now, and Dallas 3-2. Do you start thinking Dallas is actually, been knocked down quite a few pegs? There been a lot of teams. I mean, going into this, they got the 2 undefeated teams, the Niners and the Eagles, in this conference, and they're, to me, separated themselves. But you think Dallas is right there, that second tier. But after that showing, do you start placing them down in the power rankings much lower?
I do, because I think as a whole, the Cowboys team is awesome. My question mark is actually Dak Prescott, because like some of the picks that he throws, you're just like, he just tossed that, like the one that he threw that was down the field, and he tossed it up for grabs, right? Like it was just like it's a toss up, and it's like, no, the safety's right there. And it was an easy pick for him.
That was easy, yeah.
Yeah. So
I was wondering if they said, instead of punting Dak, just throw it down there for them, but you'd rather have a punt, I think. Get your punt coverage team out there and stop the guy. But yeah, that was like very egregious. And he was tied for the worst interceptions in the league last year. He had been protecting the ball not bad, but this really exposed him. 3 picks that were ugly, and really started showing those warts that he has. And you start questioning, wow, like Dallas they're cursed. They're just cursed. They just have the Jerry Jones curse, and they just, they can assemble whoever the hell they want. They just cannot win in these important games. And the Niners are important for them because they got knocked out by the Niners in the playoffs the last 2 seasons in a row.
Exactly. That's it right there. Like they know that this is one of those games that they circle on the schedule. Like it was like we got to show up for this game. 42-10 is not showing up. Get blown out, man. So yeah.
Dallas's largest loss since 2013. So it's been 10 years, and that was tough for the Cowboys fans. I hate the Cowboys, always have, and so I was happy today, happy last night. Good to see Stephen A dancing around, wearing his Cowboys. He was wearing a Michael Irvin's jersey with a cowboy hat on today, and he looked as happy as heck. Shannon Sharp, they were both really thrilled. But Dallas plays the Chargers. That's a week today, Monday nighter, 5:15 kickoff from Pacific Zone. And the 49ers go to the Browns Sunday, and that's the early window. Okay, let's talk about the front running Eagles. This was another game of the weekend, in my opinion. This was the Rams and the Eagles. And a lot of people really didn't talk very highly of the Rams going in. When you looked at the roster, they seemed they had been decimated from that Super Bowl team a couple of years ago, and really started looking like they weren't going to be able to be competitive this year. But Cooper Kupp not being able to play at the beginning of the year, they replaced him with Puka Nacua, who had, historic numbers, best start of an NFL career as a wideout. And then Cooper Kupp's back, finally. He's back in the mix. And the first drive, he catches 5 balls for them as they march down the field and score a touchdown. And it's like, it didn't even seem like he missed a beat. He hasn't played since November of last year, missed a ton of time, and comes in and looks great. I was super excited about seeing Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua against A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, DeAndre Swift. These two offenses looked like really fun, matching each other. Pretty good game. Eagles end up winning 23-14, continuing their undefeated streak. And yeah, this was to me a great game. And two, very high-powered offenses. It turned out to be a pretty solid, decent game.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the game, actually, to be honest with you. I just thought that Matt Stafford's like, my boy is back. All right, you getting the ball like a lot.
Yeah.
Because he just like that first drive, I'm just like, what's happening? Are they trying to cover him? Like he's like big.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when you have one of the best receivers in the game.
Yeah.
He can be gone. He can be gone for a while, but when he comes back, instant impact, immediate impact,
Amazing.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm actually excited to see how good the tandem of Cup and Nakua, who would ever have thought that, but how great they're going to be going forward for their team, not just this season, but the next couple of seasons, because they definitely got a stud Nakua. That's obvious.
The difference the Eagles have over everybody else, though, is the brotherly shove. They have just been able to perfect this. A lot of people are calling it the tush push, and I don't like that term. I love the brotherly shove. And can you believe it? Like Hurts takes the ball and he just hits into the pile, and the pile's kind of like this. And then all of a sudden, you see it, and they get that 1, 2, 3 yards. They get the first down. Every fourth down try they go for, every third down try they go for, and it is amazing. Like, I can't believe how well it works. Last week the Giants tried it. 2 of their guys got injured on the one play. And the Eagles just figure it out, know how to do it, and nobody can stop them. And there's talk about the NFL trying to implement something to stop them from being allowed to do it. How unfair is that? Like, they are the only ones that can do it well, so everybody else says, no, we're outlawing it.
Yeah, I think that's ridiculous. Yeah. I honestly do, because it's like they figured out how to do it, and they have the personnel to do it right all the time. They shouldn't be penalized for that.
No.
Like, no team should be penalized for that.
No.
It's almost like the other owners are like, we don't like that. We don't like the fact that they can always do that to us, so we want that to go away. No, man. They figured it out for themselves. They're very good and elite at doing it. And obviously, not every team can do it.
No. The
Giants tried, and it's like they lost a couple linemen. And it's like, oh, okay, well, maybe we can't do this one. Maybe this is for us.
Yeah. No, I'm mad that they're even considering taking it out. It's been phenomenal and great to see. I love Jalen Hurts. Look at this guy. Look at his numbers. 300 yards a game with a passing touchdown, 72 yards on the ground and a touchdown on the ground. 15 carries the guy had. What a weapon. AJ Brown, that one-handed grab across the middle was spectacular. The guy is such a beast, and he has amazing hands. Like, such an incredible receiver. 127 yards and 6 catches. Dallas Goedert also had 117 yards on 8 catches and a touchdown. And then DeAndre Swift, they gave him the ball 23 times. He got 70 on the ground, 38 through the air. Like, teams are like, the Eagles are coming. How are we going to stop this 3-headed monster? This is going to be spectacular. I'm predicting that the Eagles and the Niners meet in that NFC Championship game, and it's going to be some of the greatest football that we've ever seen.
Yeah, I would say that right now. I think it's almost like, isn't that almost a foregone conclusion? I know we're only going into week 6, but it really kind of looks like that, right? Yeah. And then if that does happen, that's going to be just a spectacular game. It's just going to be an awesome, awesome game.
Yeah, and the Eagles' defense is no joke too. Really amazing. Hassan Reddick with those 2 sacks to finish the game off. He sacked Stafford. Boom! The last 2 plays of the game finished it off. I'm very impressed. Stafford had a decent game, 222 yards, a couple touchdowns, and we mentioned Kupp and Nakua, but Tutu Atwell got another touchdown, and also their defense is pretty impressive. Obviously, Aaron Donald is spectacular, but that Othello Witherspoon pick in the corner of the end zone there in the front corner. Wow, that was amazing. And yeah, this team is fun to watch. I'm surprised that they they're 2-3 right now, because this team actually seems to be pretty well rounded on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, no, they're better. They're better than what I thought they would be this season.
Yeah,
They're a lot better than what I thought they would be this season. So,
yeah.
and they're exciting to watch. The Rams are actually that's exciting football to watch. So I look forward to seeing them again, and hopefully they can continue doing exciting football things on the field.
Okay, so we've covered the Eagles at 5-0, the Cowboys at 3-2 in the East. Now we go to the Commanders. Well, I'll mention the Philly plays the Jets on Sunday late afternoon, and the Rams against the Cardinals same time, 1:25 later afternoon. Commanders ended up playing Chicago on the Thursday nighter. I really want to dedicate this NFL segment to to a guy that probably one of the greatest defensive players to ever live. Dick Butkus passed away that day. The Chicago ends up rallying around that and winning their first game in almost a calendar year. I just remember Dick Butkus for NFL films and seeing him just an absolute beast as a linebacker. One of the toughest, meanest guys that you ever see, but you just loved him. And he sort of revolutionized the linebacking position. He played 9 seasons, 8 in the Pro Bowl, 2-time defensive MVP, Hall of Famer immediately. And then he became that broadcaster that you loved, and that guy that you saw on like almost every show that you love. He ended up getting 62 acting credits later on in his life, and had a spectacular career post-football life, and just a legendary icon in Chicago.
Yeah, absolutely legendary icon. Did so much for the city, for the organization, and just simply for himself. Like he was the epitome of what a linebacker is in the NFL, right? Like he's got that legendary status to him. He'll be sorely missed, but it was really cool to see the Bears really step up and hammer the Commanders.
Yeah, they took it to him, doubled them up 40-20. Unreal.
No, yeah, no. I was super impressed. Fields looked really good. Like that's the thing with Fields, where sometimes you're like, maybe he can't be an NFL starter. And then he has a game like this, like, well, maybe he can be an NFL starter.
Yeah.
And then DJ Moore.
Wow.
8 receptions, 230 yards, 3 touchdowns, was pretty much unstoppable.
Yeah.
Unstoppable.
Yeah, well, when Chicago decided that they wanted to trade that number 1 overall pick to Carolina so Carolina could get Bryce Young, they kept asking for more. And finally, when DJ Moore ended up being that guy that became Moore, they were like, yeah, all right, let's make that deal. Yeah, I'd love to see Fields throw to this guy. And it finally is really coming together where you're like, wow, this is a weapon that's going to be almost impossible to stop, as long as they can get maybe secondary and, some good receivers that can take the heat off of him a little bit. Like, unreal. Amazing first half, and you're thinking, these numbers he's got this at half, like what's he going to get? And 230 yards is like legendary. What a game. And unstoppable that night. It was spectacular to watch and get to see Fields probably the last 2 games, best 2 games of his career. And he's finally really showing that he can be the pocket passer as well as the guy that can run out in space, and especially when he has DJ Moore to throw to.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, I still feel that the Bears offense could be more tailor-made to Fields' skill set.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. I don't know if they'll ever do that, but if he can do things like that, like if they just tailored the offense more to him, I think he could do even more.
Yeah. I was really disappointed that their top running back, Khalil Herbert, got hurt. He went to catch a pass, sort of awkwardly, had to turn a little bit, twisted his ankle underneath him. He's expected to be out multiple weeks. So that's a blow for them. And yeah, it was tough to see them have to suffer that. Their defense is always good in Chicago. They got a pick, a fumble recovery. They made 5 sacks of Sam Howell and seemed to really be in Sam Howell's face the entire game. But I was surprised at the game plan the Commanders had, given Howell 51 pass attempts, 388 yards through the air, couple touchdowns. But why did they abandon the running game completely and put it on this rookie on his hands? It just seemed like a pretty poor game plan, in my opinion.
Well, you know, honestly, you usually want a balanced attack,
Yeah.
you know? And I know that they were coming from behind, but like, come on, can you just abandon the run altogether?
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't think that's the right call.
No,
Like,
I thought it was a horrible thing. They had Brian Robinson make 6 carries. That was it. Like, the whole running attack was 6 carries. What the hell? Then they're going to be able to tee off on you like crazy. Yeah. Like, they're going to be able to come out in coverage and cover the players and know that they're not going to have to even worry about the run whatsoever. Then it's just full on go after the quarterback in the pocket there. And you know, he ran for his life a couple times. He got 4 carries for 19 yards, but 6 carries in the entire game. Like, it seemed like, I don't know what the hell Rivera's doing there. It seemed wrong, and he just threw his rookie quarterback out to the wolves and said, sink or swim, and he sunk.
Yeah, he sunk. But
numbers are great. The numbers look great, but it's not winning football.
Exactly. And then that's the difference, right? It's not winning football. This is not what we need. They need more of a balanced attack. So hopefully, I think the offensive coordinator is Bieniemy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Bieniemy needs to go, man, okay. So 6 carries, that's not going to get it done. We're going to have a more balanced attack for the future games, because yeah, man, you can't just run it 6 times and be like, I think we're going to get them this time. I think they're going to think it's a run.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be a pass. Like 90% of these plays.
I wanted to show this, but I worried about it because YouTube will do a check on every time I post something here. Every time we post anything from Complete Media Network, they do a background check and look to see if there's any proprietary information. There's any kind of
copyright.
What's that?
Copyright
stuff. Yeah. Especially NFL. NFL is really super strict showing anything. So I decided I wouldn't. But did you see the spying allegations that were levied against the Commanders?
No.
Okay. So the play caller is standing on the sideline with his play sheet, and there's a video of a guy in an NFL shirt. He's got a shirt on with an NFL logo on the front, and you can see him take out his phone and go as the play caller's sheet is up, and you can see him in behind taking the shots of it. And then they go in, this is in the first half, and they go into the locker room and they make all these adjustments, and it looked totally different game plan, which most teams are going to do. But because of this video that came out, everybody's like, look at the Commanders sent a guy over, take pictures of the play sheet, and now we know what they're going to call, what they're doing, and we're going to be able to pull this off. And Bears ended up, yeah, it was really weird and bizarre and strange, and yeah, so there's, I don't know if there's going to be more investigations done with this, but it was weird. We've heard some of that with the Patriots in the past, and some of the other teams having some spying allegations, but this was pretty weird. Like, you can actually see the guy take some pictures. It really looked like he was taking shots of the play calling.
It's ridiculous because it's like, okay, so if you do that, there's like cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
Square inch of that field is being videoed. So are you going to get away with that? No. And then plus on top of that, what good did that do you? You still got destroyed. So apparently all of those changes you made didn't do shit.
Strange. Very weird. Yeah. That was a 14-game winning streak that Chicago broke. They almost won an entire calendar year with not winning a game. So good to see. Justin Fields, 2 great games in a row, and maybe where he's finally getting that confidence. Maybe he's finally being able to figure out, how to utilize him properly and make this a well-balanced offense. And going forward, they'll be all right. They host Minnesota on Sunday, the early window, and Washington goes to Atlanta to play your Falcons. So we'll see how that plays out. Last team in the NFC East we haven't talked about is the Giants. They ended up going to Miami to face the Dolphins. And right off the top, I said I wanted to be Tua. I really want to be that Dolphins quarterback. They had little trouble beating the Giants 31-16. The Dolphins had 3 guys that really had huge games. Tua, Tyreek Hill, and Devon Achane. Man, all 3 of those guys had phenomenal numbers. Like, the track meet begins. I think scouts better just start going to high school and college track meets and teaching these guys how to catch the football and how to run. And you're going to see a lot of track and field stars. As I mentioned, I think it was 2 weeks ago, the Dolphins have recorded the highest miles per hour for any runs, the top 7 so far this season. And they said that they think Achane is the fastest, and he's the newest addition to this. And so it's amazing. But listen to you say some of the numbers. Let's hear Tua's numbers on the day.
Okay, Tua, 22 of 30, 308 yards, 2 TDs, although he had 2 picks. Achane is the one guy that he just blows my mind because of he doesn't need a lot of carries. 11 carries for 151 yards and 1 touchdown. So every time he touched the ball, he averages 15 yards.
Yeah.
15 yards.
Amazing. Unreal. I know. Yeah. And Tyreek Hill, another 8 catches, 181 yards and a touchdown. So, Tua's just got a great job. Just gets it in the hands, either hands it off 11 times or gets it in the air, and bam, his stars do great. Mostert, another great game with a touchdown and only had 10 carries, 65 yards. Jalen Waddle back in the mix, gets a touchdown as well. And their defense was great too. They sacked Daniel Jones 7 times, took him out of the game. He has some kind of neck injury. Not sure over the next coming days. I guess we'll hear if he has to get an MRI, some scans, and if he'll miss some time. I think he probably will. He wasn't able to return, and they're probably going to be pretty careful going forward with him.
Yeah, as they should be, right? And then also too, I can't put all of this on Jones because he has no offensive line.
Yeah,
like he literally doesn't have one. Like as I'm watching the highlights of that game, I'm like, where's his protection? He's just running for his life like all the time, or he's just saying, I guess I got to do it myself again. Like just,
18 sacks in the last 2 weeks he's had to endure.
Yeah, like no wonder the guy's hurt. Yeah. No wonder.
Yeah, Tyrod Taylor came in, pretty decent numbers. I expect we'll see him under center going forward this week. Darren Waller, I was blown away that Vegas got rid of this guy and he's come in, but he's just really unable to do much when his quarterback's running for his life and trying his best to get out there, and they miss Saquon so bad. This team was a playoff team last year. They're 1-4 this year, and to me, Saquon is the reason why.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Like he's their offensive hub. They need him for their offense to work, and if he's not in, this is the result. This is what you see.
They better figure out this offensive line, though, because they're going to get Tyrod Taylor killed, and then their third stringer, and then their fourth stringer, and then Saquon, they'll make him the QB, and he'll get hurt, and oh man, it's bad there. That pick six by Jason Pinnock, 102 yards, tied a Giants record. That was spectacular, amazing for them. Giants seem to have a bit of that was their only touchdown, and this was not going to be close between the Dolphins and the Giants. The Dolphins have racked up 2,568 total yards so far in their first 5 games, most in history, and they're going to set lots of records this year. Mark my words. Giants unfortunately have a tough test ahead. They go to the Bills. That's the Sunday nighter next Sunday coming up. And Miami hosts the winless Panthers. So let's see if they can put up another 70 spot. Carolina is very bad on defense, and I think they're going to be able to roll up some big points against them.
I think that's definitely going to happen. I'm kind of curious for the Dolphins what they plan to do with their new acquisition of Chase Claypool.
Yeah,
I've heard rumors that they might actually try to test him out at the tight end position.
Wow. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and it does. He's big enough. He should be able to do that.
Yeah.
Now, the only problem is he willing to do it?
Right.
Because he's got a little bit of an ego on him. And would he put in the work? Because if he did, I couldn't even imagine. So you got another guy like that as your tight end, along with all those other guys. Oof, that would be problematic for any team.
Yeah, that's a very smart move, and he's got that size. He's 6'4", 238, I believe he's listed at. And I've been always cheering for this guy. He seemed to really be trying to talk his way out of the NFL recently with the way he was dealing with some situations that he had in Chicago. But did this really hurt him? Because he goes from the winless Bears to one of the greatest, to the undefeated Miami Dolphins, one of the best teams in the league. So did he learn a lesson? Was this a bad move for him? It might be a bit of a stain on his resume, but, in the end, it worked out, didn't it?
I think it did. Like look at where he now gets to live. He gets to live in Miami, number one. All right. And then the team is awesome. Plus, on top of that, he may have an ego, but there's a bunch of dudes that are really good on that team.
Yeah.
And that could possibly put him in his place and say, oh, is that what you've done? Is that what you're proud of? Well, I've done that for like 5 seasons.
Yeah.
Big deal.
Yeah, maybe his ego gets put into check, and maybe he gets some more maturity and understands where he is in the pecking order. And maybe he's about 5th, 6th, 7th on the weapons depth chart they have. So get in line. In the NFL, there's injuries every week, and he might get opportunities with guys coming in and out. But he's coming into a team that's super stacked. They all love each other, it seems like, and he's going to have to tread lightly with that ego to find himself a place on the team.
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely going to have to tread lightly, because at the end of the day, we don't need you.
Yeah.
The Dolphins don't need him.
Yeah. You're
just there as an extra weapon for us. And if it doesn't work out here for you here, then see you later. Ship you off somewhere else, or you're just gone, right? Because they don't need him.
Yeah. Well, I like the thought of him as a tight end in Chicago. They had him sort of as a slot receiver at times, and he was really vilified for terrible blocking. And as a tight end, that's what they want you to do a lot. George Kittle, those first 4 games of the season, that's almost primarily what he did was block, and he's beloved by his teammates because he provides those blocks so often for getting guys out in space. And if Chase Claypool is not willing to do that, then he's not going to be able to be a tight end.
No, absolutely not. Right? He can't be a tight end. He's not what they need. Right? And the reason why Kittle is awesome, he's George Kittle, is because he's like, I don't need the ball.
Yeah.
I'll just do what you guys asked me to do, and I'll do it to the best of my ability, and we'll win.
Yeah.
And then what's happening? They're winning.
I forgot to say happy birthday, George Kittle. It's his birthday today. Really nice to get those 3 touchdowns on his birthday eve. And I was supposed to mention that near the top when we talked about the Niners. Hope you have a happy birthday today. I'm sure it's going to be a lot better after you had that spectacular day yesterday.
Oh, I think he's having a great birthday. It's like a real good one.
What do you think? What do you think his wish will be when he blows out the candles on his birthday cake?
Super Bowl? That would probably be it, because he kind of has everything else. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah. It'll be a lot more than a can of Coke. And it'll be, he doesn't need the lottery. He's already made that happen. So, Super Bowl or bust. That's probably what his wish is. Okay, we're gonna switch to the NFC West. We've already covered the front-running Niners, 5-0, leading the division. 3-1 Seahawks are in second. They had a bye this week, so they are. We're not going to cover anything. They go to Cincinnati to play them Sunday, the early window. We talked about the Rams already against the Eagles, so now we only just have to talk about the Cards to finish off the NFC West. The Cards played those Bengals that the Hawks are going to play. Totally healthy Joe Burrow finally. He came off the injury list early in the week. They said he's 100%, and it really looked like it was. He had phenomenal numbers, 36-46, 317 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he's back, and the Bengals got a big victory, 2-3 on the year, and looking great. And the other thing that is good is Jamar Chase. I said, paraphrase what he said last week about being open. He said, yeah, I'm always effing open. I want to show you his post today from what he put on X on Twitter. This made me laugh. Let's see. Here it is. This is his post from Twitter, and this sort of says it all. Can you see? 11, always open. And that was his that was his first post. And then the little stepbrothers montage here. Brothers from other mothers were the 2 main posts. And somebody else posted driving up to 7-Eleven. Both Jamar and 7-Eleven are open 24/7. So made me laugh a ton. Love Jamar Chase. Just tell me his numbers, Jason, what he did yesterday.
Well, apparently it was a new Bengals record for a single game with 15 receptions, 192 yards, and all 3 touchdowns that Burrow threw were to his man, Jamar Chase.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's right. He's right. I'm always open. I'm there. I'm like 7-Eleven. Get me the ball. I will rack up the yards and I'll score the touchdowns. And nobody stopped him. Like, if I'm the Cards defense, 2 or 3 guys are going on Jamar Chase. What happened? Like, what happened? How could they let him get 15 balls?
Well, I guess they were like, well, we tried. It didn't work, right? Because, like, even T. Higgins is not there to help him out because he's out with an injury. And so, yeah, you would think that they would key. Sorry?
Something happened to your audio. It suddenly dropped off quite a bit for some reason.
Can you hear me now or
no? You're iffy.
Iffy? Okay, hold on a sec. Hold on. Okay, how about now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I have no idea why that happens. Anyways, but You know what I mean? Like, okay, so Higgins is out with an injury, and
Yeah.
Chase is the guy.
Yeah.
So key on him. So even with the double coverage, Chase is like, no, when I said I'm always open, doesn't matter. I am open. And now that Burrow is actually not hurt, he can deliver the ball.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. They were able to utilize Joe Mixon. He touched the ball 29 times. Didn't have a phenomenal day, but was able to just keep the drives going and keep that ball rolling until Burrow was able to get out, find his guy. And yeah, this Bengals team, really tough start, obviously, with Burrow injured, but I see this team coming around now that Burrow's healthy. And yeah, really good performance. Jamar Chase was, to me, the best player, one of the best players, in the NFL yesterday. And I also like their defense. They had a forced fumble off Dobbs, picked him off twice. 11-yard pick touchdown by Cam Taylor-Britt, and yeah, really showed their superiority in this game. Arizona, yeah, lacking, like we've said right from the start this year. We did not expect them to do very well this year. They did get the big victory over the Cowboys, and that might be their Super Bowl for the year. They might not be able to celebrate a ton. I feel bad for guys like Hollywood Brown because I think he's an incredible weapon. Rondé Moore and Zach Ertz, but yeah, this team just will not be able to compete that often this year.
No, they're just not good enough. Well, they're good enough to get into the Caleb Williams sweepstakes.
Yeah,
I can say that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so the divisional battle goes up for them next week. Arizona goes to the Rams. They play Sunday 1:25 kickoff. And as I mentioned earlier, Cincy and Seattle Sunday in that early window. Okay, now we're going to do the NFC North. Leading the North is the Detroit Lions at 4-1. They're easily dominating this division. And then they had those Carolina Panthers, who the only winless team that still exists in football, put a beat down on them. Jared Goff had great numbers as usual. David Montgomery, wow, 169 yards on the ground, almost 6 yards average, scored a touchdown. The Reynolds boys look good. Josh and Craig both getting in the end zone. And Sam Laporta, great pickup for them. Good defense. Aiden Hutchinson, that pick that Aiden Hutchinson had, that was just unreal. And that's Detroit team. Yeah, they're still rolling along. Not a terrific test against Carolina, but they put up 42. Pretty impressive.
Very impressive, just because of the fact that it's a team that they should beat, and they handled them very, 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 very easily. And Sam Laporta, and that guy's going to be, that's a great weapon for them for the future going forward. He's just a great tight end.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, no, I'm sure they're very happy they made that draft pick for sure. Bryce Young had a pretty decent game, pretty decent numbers, but threw a couple picks. I feel sorry for guys when they're on teams like this where, they might be winless. Adam Thielen, DJ Chark, two really big weapons, both got into the end zone, but it doesn't matter when you're playing on a team that's 0-5.
No, it doesn't. But I am impressed with Adam Thielen, how he seems to have just resurrected his career with the Panthers, because like he's been playing very, very well.
He's a great weapon. Always was in many, and yeah, he's phenomenal. I was starting to look at Carolina's schedule to see where is that possibility of a win. Their next 3 opponents are Miami, then they get a bye, then they face Houston and Indy. All three, I would favor the other team for sure. Chicago on November 9th. Chicago came into this week winless, got the victory over the Commanders, but I think if Carolina only wins one game this year, maybe that's their best hope.
Yeah. I would have to agree with that. And again, they're in for the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. But here's the thing: since they traded to get Bryce Young, would they go for Caleb Williams as well if they had the chance to get him?
I don't know. Seems unlikely, but
But
yeah, like it would be hard to give up on a guy who's that amazing. But yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll have to see what other kinds of needs they have and what kind of top end talents at the top of that draft.
yeah, because at the same time, it's like, yes, Williams is going to be awesome. We all know that. But at the same time, it's like, did you actually give this guy a shot? You didn't, right? Like, it's not even his fault. There's nothing wrong with what he's done so far. He's a rookie and he's trying to figure it out. And he doesn't really have a team at all.
No.
So
yeah. Detroit goes to Tampa. They play in the 125 later window Sunday. Tampa had a bye this week, so they weren't in. Carolina said go to Miami. This is going to be one of those 60 50 60 70 points probably rolled up, unless Daniels decides to rest a bunch of his starters, look for an offensive explosion. Okay, so the Lions are leading the North. In second place in the North Division is the Packers, and they play the Raiders tonight, Monday Night Football. Always like seeing these two teams play each other. Two storied franchises in my mind. But the Packers have won 8 straight against the Raiders, going all the way back to 1990. These teams don't face each other as much as you think. And but Packers have won 8 straight. These are under Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, but we'll see how it goes tonight. Packers injuries got quite a few. My brother from another mother, Devondre Campbell, is out with an ankle injury. The linebacker will be sorely missed. Their safety Zane Anderson is also out with a hamstring injury. Also questionable is their star running back Aaron Jones. Jair Alexander has a back injury, and Eric Stokes is out with a foot injury. So their corners are both hurt, and their safety Rudy Ford is questionable with an oblique injury. So tough injuries on the Green Bay side. Out for the Raiders, cornerback Nate Hobbs out with an ankle. Devontae Adams is questionable with a shoulder injury, and their 2 corners are also questionable. Jakarian Bennett has a hamstring and a shoulder, so I don't expect him to play. And David Long has an ankle. So decimated on both sides of the ball, so maybe that evens things out. Devontae Adams is having another great year. He is trying to become one of 4 players in the Super Bowl era to lead the NFL in receptions on 2 different teams. So, he's an incredible weapon that they have there in Vegas. Vegas is the slight favorite, 2.5 point favorite going in tonight, and the over/under is about 46.5. The one line has Vegas minus 130, Green Bay plus 110, really close. The Packers do have a bye next week, so they'll likely rest guys that are questionable. So my money's kind of on the Raiders to end this 8-game losing streak, and Devontae Adams being such a massive weapon for them.
I would agree with you if Devontae plays.
If he's 100%, yeah.
Like if he just plays, like if he plays, then I'm definitely giving it to the Raiders. But if he doesn't play, I don't. It's gonna be closer.
Yeah, that's true. The Raiders host the Patriots Sunday. That should be awesome for them. Patriots look like one of the worst teams in football right now. So, but I'm looking forward to Monday Night Football as always. And we'll see. Those 2 storied franchises, fun to watch no matter what. Be a good matchup against them. Let's hope most of those guys can come back that are questionable. Okay, let's turn to the Vikings. They are down at the bottom of that division at 1-4 as well. After a 13-4 season last year, everybody sort of questioned them because there was so many wins they were getting by 1, 2, 3 points. And this year, bam, back down to earth, 1-4. Kirk Cousins is playing great. He's got Addison and Madison there and Jefferson, but they're losing all these one-score games now. This was a lot closer than people expected, though. Kansas City squeaked out a 27-20 win. Tell me about your thoughts on this one.
You know what? The Chiefs just find a way to win, and I think that's directly related to Mahomes just finds a way to win.
Yeah.
You know, like he just figures it out. It's like it may take me a while, it may take all 4 quarters, but I will beat you eventually, right?
Right.
And he did it again. Yeah. 31-41, 281 yards, 2 touchdowns, and Kelsey, his man, 10 receptions, 67 yards, and a touchdown. Like, as long as Kelsey's in that offense, and that's like the safety blanket, Chiefs are going to be good.
Yeah,
Chiefs are going to be good.
Chiefs are going to be good with him. Kelsey was injured a couple of occasions in this game. He actually left the game, went back to the locker room, threw his helmet down a couple times in frustration at getting injured. So, yeah, he's a bit banged up, and hopefully he can stay healthy. But yeah, he's such a force and such a weapon. You get it across the middle to him, he's going to bring it down. And I like Isaiah Pacheco, really good, for them. They are utilizing Pacheco pretty extreme, and I think he's going to wear down a bit. But then they got McKinnon and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, so they shouldn't have too much drop off there. I like this rookie Rashee Rice. He got a touchdown, and I think this was a big pickup for them. And they're drafting so far down the chain that you're not expecting them to come up with gems. But I like this guy, and I think he's going to be a good weapon for Mahomes.
Yeah, the Chiefs scouting department is obviously doing a heck of a job finding these hidden guys like way down in the draft, and Rice being another one, and he gets himself a touchdown too in the game.
Yeah. I mentioned Addison and Madison. Addison was their top receiver with 6 catches, 64 yards, and a touchdown. Madison didn't have as much of an impact. 10 carries or 10 touches for 46 yards, but he did get into the end zone. They suffered, or Justin Jefferson suffered a hamstring injury, and so that will be really key for them to salvage any type of a season. Hopefully he doesn't have to miss much time. I didn't hear today yet what kind of designation he's going to get and if he's going to miss any time, but he's one of the best receivers in the NFL, and if he has to miss some time, it's going to be super sorely missed.
Yeah, if he has to miss any time, it's going to be bad for the Vikings for sure.
Yeah. Minnesota goes to Chicago Sunday. Kansas City hosts the Broncos, and that's the Thursday game, which is always great to see a matchup like that. So, okay, now we're going to touch into the NFC South. We're going to do a little bit of bouncing into the Bucks. As I said, Bucks had a bye this week. They still lead the South with a 3-1 record. Let's talk about the Falcons and the Houston Texans. Your Falcons 3-2. Not a lot of people really had them 3-2 after 5 games, but they are right there in the division. They squeaked out the 21-19 win. Yu-Hung Koo knocked the game-winning field goal from 37 yards as time expired to get the victory. Desmond Ritter's numbers are super impressive. Their running attack was really stymied, so Ritter had to be the guy, and he stepped up. Bijan and Algier were kind of shut down, but Ritter, yeah, I was very impressed with his numbers in his game.
Oh, yeah, man. 28 of 37, 329 yards is a touchdown. 4 carries for another 10 yards and got in the end zone once again. Yeah, he was the reason that the Falcons won this game.
Yeah. He completed passes to 10 different receivers, utilized his entire offense, and didn't rely on a potent running attack that they've had this year. CJ Stroud, good numbers, not as good as he's had those first 4 games, but still put up 250 yards and a touchdown. And yeah, this is a team that's developing. A lot of people were quite surprised at how quickly CJ Stroud came out of the gate. This was a super tight game. Houston easily could have won this, but were unable to. I guess he has the weapons. Unfortunately, one of his rookies that's come in and played really well, Tank Dell, got hurt and is out for a little bit. We'll see how lengthy the injury is, but that was a big hit for him. He had to leave the game and did not return. But yeah, tight one, 21-19 victory for Atlanta, and they're 3-2 in the South.
Yeah, no, I was impressed. I love the Falcons fight in this game, and I love the fact that they managed to pull it out and win. I'm like, yeah, all right. Go Falcons.
They host the Commanders early window Sunday. Should be a pretty easy opponent. And Houston hosts New Orleans also on that early window Sunday. So what else do we have to talk about? Oh yeah, we had to talk about the NFC South Saints. They're also 3-2 on the year, and they put it to the hoodie. Loved it. I loved it. 34-0. The worst shutout loss of Bill Belichick's career, and I'm just loving seeing the hoodie take his lumps. He's getting shit kicked week after week. This year he's had his 3 worst losses of his 29-year career. I think this is the I think the first shutout they've endured in like 20 something years, and just like on and on and on. You just keep hearing this, and then he steps up to the podium, and I just want to like scream at him. I just want to punch him. I just want to yell at him. He's just such a dick. Like, why does he have to be such an asshole? Every time he goes to the press conference, he's just worse and worse and worse. And I think he can get worse, and then he does. And, he's just, I just would hate to be in the room with him, because I wouldn't be able to contain myself from wanting to just punch him and yell at him.
Yeah, I know. And it's weird, right? Because it's acceptable when he's winning. Yeah. And he's won for a long, long time. Barely acceptable. But now that he's losing, you're just like, what? Where's this attitude coming from? This elitist attitude, because you're definitely not elite. You got hammered, my friend. Like, you're not even close. Like, so, and then I love the conversation which is constructed around this. Like, well, I think we know then who made who.
Right. We? Yeah. This is helping the resume of Tom Brady every single week. Like, there was always that question on, who was better and who contributed more to those 6 Super Bowl titles. And Tom Brady leaves, wins a title. The Patriots have only made the playoffs 1 year since Tom's left. And, that is mostly on Belichick, because he kind of forced Tom out the door. And,
yes, he did.
I just think that he's become a dinosaur. I think that he doesn't, his way of trying to motivate teams and try to keep them at a high level isn't working anymore with the young football guys. I don't think these players accept him, like him, want to be around. They would rather be somewhere else. Just act like Chase Claypool just did, and you get to go somewhere better. And also, I think that his time as a general manager should come to an end. Maybe he can still be that coach, but I think having both hats, it doesn't work. And I don't see them making good acquisitions. I don't see them making good draft picks. I don't see them getting guys to elite levels that are coming into the NFL. They're not having any guys make the Pro Bowls. They're not having guys come in unexpectedly, Brock Purdy, and turn this thing around. I think this is a condemnation against his old archaic thinking and the way he evaluated talent and the way he could treat talent. I think it's not going to work anymore. And we could see him fired after being the greatest, football coach in history, according to many, he could be out of a job. But I think the smart thing for Kraft to do would be to remove his general manager tag, let him be the coach, and let somebody else come in and bring in the talent.
I think it's too much to ask for one person to do two of those major jobs, anyways. No. I don't think a one person should do that. I think that's a two-person job, essentially. And yeah, you should take that off his plate. But the team is just not very good, and they're very much penalized. They're not disciplined. And Bill Belichick's teams were always very disciplined, and all of a sudden now that discipline has gone out the door. So you look at these things and just like, and he's not adapting. He's not being very adaptable whatsoever. So all of those things come together. I don't think Kraft will ever force him out. I think since the 6 Super Bowls will probably be like, yeah, we're not going to do that to you, but your time's coming.
You would hope, but if he's that much of a dick to the media, maybe he's that much of a dick to everybody. So I don't know. You'd think you win 6 Super Bowls, you get a lifetime contract until you decide to hang it up. But he comes across as such an asshole, and I don't hear anybody say much nice about him when they leave. They leave town. People don't say good things about Bill Belichick.
I'll say this. I've seen a ton of podcasts with Julian Edelman. He's actually really good. I don't know, at some point in time, I would imagine he's going to be an analyst or he's going to be a talking head somewhere. He's got some of the funniest Bill Belichick stories I've ever heard.
Nice.
Check it out if you can. But it's funny in the respect that it's like, no, the guy is an asshole. It's like he's a real dick.
Yeah.
And this is how he goes about doing it. And just the way that he does Bill Belichick's voice and everything, it's hilarious. It is super funny.
That's great. Wow. Yeah. The podcast world is becoming amazing for so much of that, where you finally get to hear stories. You finally get to get behind that curtain that was always up for so many of these teams and organizations. And you always kind of thought this way, but to actually hear guys that were in the rooms there telling the stories, it's such a nice breath of fresh air to finally be having it lifted and getting the insider information that we didn't see much as I was growing up.
No, we never saw any of this stuff. And so it's nice to know that's what's going on behind the scenes, what you actually think of your head coach, or what do you think of this star player and stuff like that. It's cool. It's just more access than we've ever had.
There's a podcast circulating right now. It was Shannon Sharp sitting down with Marshawn Lynch, and I watched most of it. I didn't watch the whole entire thing yet, but he talks about the infamous, horrible call that was done in the Super Bowl. You and I have talked about that on multiple podcasts here, and Shannon Sharp asked some pretty great questions, and Marshawn's very open and honest, and it's pretty great. It's pretty great, and I'm getting that kind of insight on a daily, weekly basis with podcasts. There's so many guys that have platforms now that can start telling you these stories, and you get to hear. And that's 10 years ago. And Marshawn really never ever told you what went on in the huddle, what was going on when he heard that play, when he left when he went to the sidelines, and after, he shed some light on that. Finally, 10 years later on a podcast, which is great. We're getting that finally.
Yeah, no, it is great. And I've seen some of that podcast, and seeing how he talked about Russell Wilson, which they clearly didn't have a very good relationship whatsoever.
No.
At all.
No.
And then seeing what he actually had to say about his college teammate Aaron Rodgers, and you're just like, wait, what? So you're saying that Rodgers, great human being, great dude, Wilson, not so much.
Yeah.
And you're like, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming, man.
So bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy and bizarre. And And, we talked just recently, just a few minutes ago, about the relationship that Tom Brady and Bill Belichick shared, and they, were so successful. And Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson should have had 2 Super Bowls, got one. But seems like Pete Carroll was able to somehow keep Russ in the dark from the rest of the world. A lot of people didn't know how Russell was with his teammates. They thought symbiotic, this Legion of Boom was great on the defense, and Russell Wilson led this offense, and it was all kumbaya, and it was not really the case, as we're starting to see, and seeing Russell Wilson struggle as he left. We're seeing maybe Pete Carroll should have got way more credit, and it would be the opposite with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick.
Yeah, man. You look at it now and you just go, "Oh, Pete Carroll's a genius," because he kept us all in the dark. Everything that was going on in the locker room, he kept it in the locker room.
Yeah.
So none of that actually ever got out. Because now sometimes you'll hear the occasional comment from Sean Payton about Wilson, where it's like, "You're not a politician. Stop kissing babies." These kind of things.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll would never say that.
No.
But Peyton is just like, "Oh, I've kind of had enough of you. So no, I'm going to say stuff."
Yeah. It's been cool. And let's hope this podcast can evaluate or progress to that, where, we're uncovering stories that we never knew happened for years. And we get a ton of great guests in to shed some light, that kind of thing. And for now, you and I are shedding the light on some great, great insight and stories all the time. This was a beatdown. New Orleans, as I said, 34-0. They're 3-2 on the year. Patriots are 1-4 and falling faster and faster the whole entire time. The one good thing I want to mention about this game was to see Foster Moreau get a touchdown. This was really big for him, getting a touchdown. He recovered from cancer and came back this year. His cancer was discovered in his physical as he was signing the deal with the Saints. They noticed that his lymph nodes were swollen. They asked him to go to get a specialist and get evaluations on what's going on there. They discovered he had Hodgkin's lymphoma. They caught it so early that he didn't have to undergo chemo or radiation or anything, and he was able to get the treatment done, get it eradicated, and he's 100% healthy. And in the end zone, when he caught that ball, they had crucial catch in the end zone, and that's one of the biggest NFL cancer charities and fundraisers. And he said it was very special to him. It was, very, very huge that he was able to endure that and come back and score a TD for his team that didn't rescind the offer, asked him to recover, and then they'll put him in there, and they did. And it was just a special moment for him and his family and for everyone watching.
Yeah, you know what? And that's cool that the organization did that. That they didn't just immediately cancel his contract and stuff. They said, "No, get healthy. We're going to be with you every step of the way. Then come on back and sign your contract, and everything's going to be good." And I wish more football organizations would do that instead of just throwing away their players. You know what I mean? So I think that's awesome that the Saints did that for him. And for Foster Moreau, man, dude, you are so fortunate that you're an NFL player, because if you were any other person, you probably don't catch that time.
Yeah. Well, that's it's a very good reminder to, constantly get yourself tested and checked, because if you can get something in the early stages, you don't have to go through some brutal treatment, and you don't, if it gets too late of a stage, it's too late for some people that, they end up passing away from it. So, thank goodness he got the scan, they checked it, he was able to catch it in time and eradicate it. And he's a force. I loved him in Vegas, and I'm glad that he's continuing his career with the Saints.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
The Saints do go to Houston, play the early window Sunday. New England goes to Vegas and play in that 1:05 kickoff Pacific time. Okay, now we're finally getting to the AFC. We start with the East as always, and we did already cover the Dolphins off. They're leading at 4-1. The Bills are second place. A lot of people did not expect the Bills to struggle this year. They had that terrible opening game against the Jets and blamed it all on Josh Allen. Seemed to turn things around the following 3 weeks, and then they have to travel all the way to London and play the Jacksonville, who had been sitting there waiting for them. They were already there, had won last week, and amazingly enough, the Jags win this game 25-20. Both are 3-2 now, and the Jags go to London and turn their season around. 1-2 when they arrived in London, 3-2 when they leave there, and a very great victory for Jacksonville.
A fantastic victory. I want to say, I think one of the reasons that led to Jacksonville's victory against the Bills is the fact of their travel. That the Bills traveling over the Atlantic to get to them, because I heard that a lot of them felt extremely exhausted and tired from the travel. And that's an advantage for the Jacksonville Jaguars because they never left.
Yeah.
They just stayed there.
That's super key. And I think that's something that the NFL should do going forward with a bunch of teams, is let them play a couple games over there, let them get acclimatized, let them get that rest, and it's great for the Jags. And the other reason why the Jags won was their rushing attack. 200 yards on the ground, and that was a brilliant game plan. Just wear the Bills down with that constant rushing attack. Travis Etienne is a beast. What a phenomenal game he had. And to roll up 200 yards with 6 guys getting carries, and we don't see 200 yards rushing very often anymore.
No, you don't. You don't see that too often anymore at all. But again, like you said, great game plan. Wear them down with the run because of the travel that they had to endure and stuff. But even with that, Allen still had a great game of 359 yards, 2 touchdowns, another touchdown that he ran in. And you know what? I don't think this is like an indictment on the Bills for losing this game. Like, I think it was what it was.
Yeah.
But and I give the Jags all the credit in the world. And then Ridley had another big game, 7 receptions, 122 yards.
Yeah, I bet you they're glad he gambled.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
He gambled. He lost that season with the Falcons, and then I think we'll give him a shot. He might be okay, and he's phenomenal. Like, he's one of the best receivers in the game, and really proving so. When you look at the Bills running numbers, what the heck? Like, how did they get shut down that bad? They got, what did they get? About 12 yards? No, 15 yards total on the ground, outside of what Josh Allen put in. 15 yards total. Brutal. We talked about James Cook. Woo! Dalvin Cook's little brother. Wow. They got Damian Harris and Latavius Murray, and there was nothing from them all day.
Yeah, and the Jags just totally shut down their run game. But at the same time, that's a problem, because every once in a while the Bills' run game will just disappear. And I don't think that is a concern that they should have, because sometimes if their run game is going to fail them in the most important games, then that's not good.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Both Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis had 100 yards and a touchdown, and those two guys are great weapons. There was a prop bet that was made right before the game by one of the analysts, and they said Gabe Davis, I think he's going to get in the end zone. And Buffalo marched down. Josh Allen finds Davis in the end zone, touchdown. And it was 4 minutes left, I think it was. And I'm like, oh man, wow, finally that prop bet happened. And it was yay, that analyst was correct. And then they said pass interference on Davis. No, waved it off. And so then I was like, oh crap. After all that, and then they just call his number again. So next play, boom, throw it to him. He gets the touchdown, and everybody's happy that put the money down on the prop bet. It was kind of a funny little moment that happened near the end of that one.
It's almost as if somebody just texted the head coach and said, "Can you run that play again? I got this bet on, man. Do you think you can do that for me?" Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, it could have been. Yeah, it might have been. Buffalo was decimated with injuries over there, though. Holy crap! I was just shocked at how many times I saw guys going off, having to go to the tent, having to go to the locker room. The toughest loss for them was Matt Milano. He broke his leg, and they said he has a chance to come back near the end of the year. But then they evaluated him, and he blew out his knee, and so he's gone for the season. So broken leg, you're good. Knee injury, you're not. See you later on the shelf. We'll see you next year. That was huge. I can't even list off all the injuries that they suffered, but it was rough. I hope all of them were able to travel. That's always a little bit tough when you have injuries. Sometimes they're stuck at that place, and they'll be stuck in London for a week or two. That would be rough. But I just was shocked at how many guys got hurt in that game.
How many guys got hurt, like off the Bills side then?
Like I think like 7. I think there was like 7 out of the top, out of the 11 starters. So brutal.
That's brutal.
Yeah. And the other thing that I noticed, the Bills had to do an onside kick end of the game. They blew it. They could have had it. If somebody turned their head around, they could have had it, but blew it. There hasn't been a successful onside kick since 2017. It's been 93 games since that. They got to figure out a better way. Like, these games are done. It's like playing Russian roulette. It's like the worst odds in the history of anything. And they got to figure out a better way where a team could maybe get the ball where it's like, this game's over. See you later. Turn the channel.
Yeah, because like what you want to do is just have the percentages a little bit more like let's say 70% of the time team receiving is going to get it. Yeah. But there's 30% of the time that could not happen. Because right now, as it stands, it's like 100% of the time you try it onside, it's not going to work.
Yeah, I wouldn't even bother anymore. I just kick it deep, try to pin them back, maybe. Usually it's where you don't have any timeouts left. They can just kneel and 4 times, and it's over. I hope they can implement a new rule where it's a little bit of a chance, not no chance. It sucks. Jags host the Colts on Sunday, early window, and the Bills host the Giants on the Sunday nighter, as I mentioned earlier. Okay, we're sticking with the AFC East. We've talked about the Dolphins, Bills. Now we talk about the Jets. Jets are 2-3. Beating the Denver Broncos 31-21. This was called the Nathan Hackett Bowl revenge game after Sean Payton said that was the worst coaching performance in the history of the NFL last year. Is he trying to outdo him this year? And he's 1-4 on the season, not doing better than Hackett done. And I couldn't believe how much Hackett was celebrating on the sideline, and players were hugging him and high-fiving him, and it was like they won the Super Bowl because they were able to shove it in Sean Payton's face over his comments earlier in the year. And Aaron Rodgers saying, get your coach to keep my coach's name out of his mouth, and everyone got a little bit freaked out. But Hackett gets his revenge and beats his old Broncos.
I think what Sean Payton is realizing is this. It's a lot harder than what I thought. Coaching this team is a lot harder than what I thought.
Way harder. Yeah.
I think that's what he's realizing. And I think that's what Nathaniel Hackett always knew.
Yeah.
Which is, oh, no, it's really hard, actually.
That was an impossible task there, buddy. It was like, go for it, go for it.
Yeah.
This was the Brees and Bryce Hall show. The reason why they won. Brees Hall got 177 yards rushing and a touchdown. His touchdown was 72 yards. Unbelievable. And Bryce Hall got a 39-yard fumble return for a touchdown, had 4 tackles, was a beast on defense. The Jets defense recovered 3 fumbles, had 4 sacks, and were really, really one of the reasons why that fumble strip sack that got returned for a touchdown by the Jets had Sean Payton yelling at Russell Wilson, like, what the hell were you doing there? And had them arguing on the sideline. You heard it a little bit that there was some clashes there, but that one was probably the biggest moment where I saw them actually both yelling at each other.
Yeah. I have a sneaking suspicion that's going to continue to be a thing throughout the entirety of the rest of the season.
Denver should have said, hey, we were actually asking for Zach Wilson, not Russell Wilson. We want the other Wilson. How about Garrett Wilson? Maybe he can be better quarterback. We gave how much money to Russell Wilson? No, it was Zach. You guys got the wrong name. Can you believe Zach Wilson is better than Russell Wilson right now, currently in the record?
Yeah, well, the record is better. I think Russ had a slightly better game. 106 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Wilson had 199 yards, Zach Wilson, but with 1 interception. But he won the game. So, yeah, man, it's the Broncos are in it tough. Yeah.
I like that interception that Patrick Surtain had. That was a spectacular grab. He pulled it from the receiver and he caught it between his legs as he was rolling around. That was a spectacular highlight for the Broncos, but not much else for them. And this is another lost season for Denver and Russell Wilson. The Broncos go to KC Thursday, as I mentioned earlier, and the Jets host the Eagles. So tough opponent coming up for them. Okay, so the AFC West, we covered it with the Chiefs. The Chargers had a bye. They're sitting at 2-2 in second place. Raiders we covered tonight. They play the Monday nighter, and the Broncos sit last at 1-4. So now we can turn to the AFC North, and we had a battle for the top of the AFC North against Pittsburgh and Baltimore. This was the 34th meeting between John Harbaugh and Tomlin, and that's the second most all-time from coaches. Curly Lambeau and George Halas have the most, but these guys, it's Baltimore-Pittsburgh is probably the greatest titanic battle every year in the NFL, and this was not a pretty game, but Pittsburgh was able to get a win in an ugly game. And to me, it's really fun football, even when it's a bit of an ugly game.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It was very much a defensive battle in this game.
Yeah.
And I was super impressed that the Steelers came back and won the game in literally in the fourth quarter, getting the equivalent of 2 touchdowns. And I believe it all started with the blocked punt.
Yeah.
And then that guy, he actually managed to save it before it went out the end zone. And I was amazed. I didn't think he would get to it in time.
No, they called him out. They actually called him out, or he would have had a touchdown. Yeah. That's why it ended up becoming a safety.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, he was so close to getting that. Like his elbows ended up just touching the white. He made a spectacular dive at it, but it ended up being called out, so they gave him a safety instead of a TD.
Okay, so that but that was what started them to come back.
Yeah, turned the momentum big time.
Yeah, that was the momentum turner.
Yeah.
And then Pickett and Pickens, that might be a combo that we hear a lot more of, because that was a great go-ahead touchdown that he had to Pickens. Because as far as I'm concerned, when I watched that play, he wasn't going anywhere else.
No.
That ball was always going to Pickens.
Yeah. Yeah, small hands can get that ball off, and Pickens is a weapon. A lot of people were talking about that duo coming into this year as one of the reasons why Pittsburgh continues their streak of being 500 or greater, and being relevant, and really good. Baltimore has a lot of troubles right now handling the ball. They had 3 fumbles. 8 dropped balls. 3 of those dropped balls would have been touchdowns if the guy grabbed the ball. And on NFL Countdown earlier in the day, they showed a clip, a bit of a story about training and trying to get ready for games. And they had implemented bringing in a rugby ball, and they were tossing a rugby ball up and having guys catch a rugby ball. And they thought that with the rugby ball being so big and different shape, that when the football came in, that it would be so much easier to catch, and it would elevate them to a different level. And some of those misses I saw, the guy had his hands this far apart, and the ball went right between their hands. And you can catch a rugby ball with your hands that far apart. If you have your hands that far apart with a football, it's going through them. And that rugby ball better go all the way back to England or wherever the hell it came from, because they screwed up putting that as a training tool, and it really didn't work. And Baltimore can blame a loss on those 8 drop balls. 8 drop balls. Like, some teams don't go entire season with 8 drop balls. That was terrible for the receiving corps.
No, that's awful. And also, too, why would you think that you use a football in this sport? So that's what you catch.
Yeah.
You don't catch a rugby play. Like, for me, that doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it doesn't make any sense.
It was brutal.
Yeah,
it was dumb as hell, and I was shocked. They uncovered that nugget. They brought it out as, hey, look at how ingenious we're being, and it really backfired and screwed them up. And I was really stunned. I love the Joey Porter Jr. huge pick in the end zone on Lamar. Love Joey Porter Sr., and I was hoping that when he got drafted by the Steelers and came in, I thought, wow, this is super cool. They actually live just across the street from Three Rivers, and that kid spent most of his life in the locker room there, and was always, enamored with the Steelers. And I thought, if he ever got a shot, he would be pretty dynamic. And that was a really nice pick he made in the end zone there.
Oh, it was a beautiful pick. But you know what? The kid's got pedigree behind him.
Yeah.
The old man was good. I've always thought of oh no, the kid's going to be good.
He should be good, yeah. Fumbleitis, Lamar Jackson, some of the other guys, Justice Hill had a really bad fumble. Odell Beckham, non-existent. Rashad Bateman, non-existent. I don't know what happened. The only guy that caught really much was Zay Flowers. Oh, Mark Andrews is pretty decent, but Odell, I don't know where the hell he was. Steelers defense, just love watching TJ Watt. I love watching Highsmith. Steelers defense is super formidable. And if Pittsburgh can score about 20 or more, they should win quite a few games this year, because that defense is really, really tough.
Yeah. And you know what I really actually enjoy? I enjoy hearing his older brother talk about his younger brother and say, yeah, he's probably the best defensive player in the league.
Yeah.
Like I was.
Yeah, that family is incredible. Yeah, amazing. I wish JJ got a chance to play on Pittsburgh, and all 3 of the brothers could have played together. That would have been historic. But Pittsburgh has a bye this week, so good on them. Hopefully get some great rest. They play the Rams next. Baltimore goes to Tennessee, and that's the next London game, also in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and it's an early kickoff for us, 6:30 a.m. I've been hating getting up, but I have been. I usually fade out around 11. I have to have a little bit of a nap, but yeah, I need to watch the games, but I really wish they could make them like 3 hours later.
That would be nice. That would be nice. But then you'd have a problem with the fans though on their side. So
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what time that actually kicks off there. I should have looked, but yeah, it's not fun for me. Browns, they had a bye this week. They're 2-2. And then we mentioned the Bengals, they won. So that's the North. Now we just finished with the South. Indy, Tennessee is the game that I want to focus on. Jags still on top of the division, 3-2, but the Colts are also 3-2 now. They were able to get the 23-16 win over Tennessee. Anthony Richardson, oh, the guy's so good, but he's been pulled out of 3 out of their first 5 games because of injury. They think this injury is actually going to be lengthy, and he's going to be out for a while. So we had to see their backup again, and that is
Gardner Minshew.
Right? Yeah, Richardson is such a weapon, but man, like 3 times pulled for injury in 5 games, like that's not a good start to your career.
No, it's not great, but also too, it's kind of due to how he quarterbacks. He's a running quarterback, and guys like that, like he's going to have to monitor that, like when he should actually slide and not take unnecessary hits and stuff. And I think that just comes with experience. When you're young, you're just like, I got to go for it, man. Not everybody can be a Josh Allen and just be like, I'm just going to run you over. I don't slide.
No, true. Yeah, he is big, but he's a little fragile. They were really excited and happy this week as Jonathan Taylor came back to them, said, okay, sorry about that. I'm good. Just give me 42 million and I'll be good for you going forward. 14 million a year, 26.5 million guaranteed. Happy guy. But they didn't need him on Sunday as Zach Moss had a phenomenal running game. Absolutely just was a complete beast. What are his numbers, Jason?
23 carries, 165 yards with 2 touchdowns. He was amazing. Yeah. But I also want to just point out, Richardson got knocked out. Gardner Minshew is a very capable backup.
Yeah.
He went 11-14 for 155 yards. Even Zach Moss at the end of the game said, that dude stepped in, we were still good.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, no, it's a good, very smart to have an experienced quarterback as a backup for a rookie guy coming in. That's a smart move for an organization, and I like Minshew, and I think everybody on that team really has a lot of confidence in him and his abilities, and I think he can be a good answer for them to have a decent season, even if Richardson is out for a lengthy period of time.
Yeah, I think that they're in good hands. They're in good hands there.
On the other side of the ball, Tennessee, DeAndre Hopkins, another phenomenal year. That guy is just unreal. But Derrick Henry, something's wrong with Derrick Henry. Yeah, I saw him get stuffed on a few occasions, and I never used to. He got stuffed on a 4th and 1, and it was shocking to me. He's just, something just not quite dynamic like we normally used to see him with Derrick Henry.
You know what? And it could just be the amount of punishment he's taken. It's now beginning to add up, and it does. Yeah. If you're a running back, it doesn't matter how big you are. Eventually, all of that gets to you, begins to wear you down physically, and maybe this is the year that we finally see him physically start to decline.
Yeah. Could be. It's too bad because he's such a beast and so fun to watch, and I just seeing a little decline this year. I'm not counting him out already. It's only 5 games in, but we'll see. I do want to just blast through some of the injury list. I mentioned Matt Milano, Khalil Herbert, mentioned him a little bit. Daniel Jones with that neck injury. We'll see how serious that is. Neck, you don't want to mess with the neck. Broncos defensive lineman DJ Jones has a knee injury. We'll see if he comes back. Let's see. Cards cornerback Anthony Hamilton has a concussion. Jalen Thompson, their safety, has a hamstring injury. Cowboys, a ton of injuries for them. Kevontae Turpin, beautiful touchdown catch on Sunday. Hurt his ankle super bad, out 4 to 6 weeks, they say. CJ Goodwin, torn pec, out for the season. Leighton Vander Esch, neck injury. He's had a lot of previous neck and back troubles, so that's very troubling for the Cowboys. Their safety, Donovan Wilson, is out with a leg injury. Their cornerback, Jordan Lewis, and Devon Bland, both out with injuries. After Trevon Diggs went down with his torn ACL, man, they got decimated last night. Anthony Richardson, his injury is an AC joint sprain. They say that's at least 3 to 4 weeks missing. So that's the word there. Hopefully that young kid can figure it out and have a long, lengthy career that can stay fairly healthy.
Yeah, hopefully. But again, I think it just comes with experience and time played and stuff, and knowing not to try to avoid the big hits.
Yeah. Okay. UFC had a card, Vegas, a smaller card, not very big names on there. Main event had Grant Dawson coming in, really having a phenomenal career so far, looking just unbeatable, and on a big win streak. But he comes upon Bobby Green, who is one of those guys that you just have a hard time fighting because his style keeps his hands down so low, such crazy movement. And Bobby just landed this perfect laser left straight punch to knock him down. Had to just ground and pound him a few times, and gets the victory, gets $50K, enters the top 10 ranked fighters in that lightweight division, and star of the show. An amazing performance from Bobby Green in that main event.
Yeah, he starts them. Took him 30 seconds. Like, here I am. I'm expecting all right, this is probably going to be a war. Probably it's going to go all 5 rounds, whatever. And then it's like, or it's going to be over in 30 seconds.
Yeah, that was amazing. 33 seconds to finish that off. It was incredible. And Bobby Green, you and I talked about him a couple years ago, and he was on a really rough road. He had won 1-7 or something crazy. And I was like, his career could be done in the UFC very soon if he doesn't smarten up. And you were like giving him a little more of the benefit of the doubt. He's got that exciting style. People love him. They're going to give him a lot more chances than others. And he has really turned this around. And, to finally be back in this top 10 and maybe a couple of victories away from contending, it's pretty remarkable.
No, it is remarkable. It's remarkable how he's been able to turn around his career. And that now that we're talking about him being in the top 10, and he has the capability of making a run. He's absolutely talented enough to do it. So I'm excited to see what happens next, because now he gets to fight these upper echelon guys in the top 10.
Yeah. I thought it was super hilarious too, where the announcers were just saying that Bobby Green has come into this one and he says he wants to hand Grant Dawson a grandfather lesson. And then bam, it was just poetic. It was just like they couldn't have said something more perfect in that moment. And it was just boom, straight left. And it was hard to see it in real time because it was just such a quick flash. And it didn't look like wind up. It didn't look like a super powerful hook or anything. It was just a laser sharp left that just dropped him, put him in trouble, and then just boom, it was over.
Yeah, and then also too, it helped that he caught Dawson coming in. So he
Right.
used his own momentum against them, and then that rattled his brain enough to win the fight.
He has the most knockouts in lightweight history. That's amazing. Like amazing. Out of the lightweights that we've seen, like incredible. Most he's close to the most fights ever in lightweight history. Clay Guida is far and away the top with 56. Jim Miller 58, sorry. Jim Miller 54. Bobby Green 46 appearances. Charles Oliveira 44 and Michael Johnson 41. But now to have the most KOs in UFC lightweight history, that blows my mind. The yeah, do you think Keith Peterson, the drunk guy we talked about, stopped it a little early?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I'm going to be honest. I thought about that for a brief second. And I'm like, nah, man. All that would have happened is Green was just going to keep grounding and pounding him until he did stop the fight. And I thought I didn't think Dawson had a chance to come back from that. I thought it was done.
He wants to fight very soon. He wants to fight in December. He said he would like to be the most active fighter in the UFC, and he thinks he's tied with somebody right now. So he'd like to get that one more fight to become the most active. And I'm sure after a performance like that, they'd love to have him out there. Didn't take any damage. You might as well put him on a December card. He came in as a big underdog. He was plus 350. Dawson was minus 500 to get this victory, and a great performance in a main event that I kind of thought maybe was going to be a little one-sided for Dawson, but no such go there. Co-main event, Joe Pyfer. I had my hesitations on him coming into the UFC. I thought, yeah, he might be average, but wow, beat a tough guy in Al Hassan. Al Hassan is such a great judo guy, powerful as hell. If you get hit by him, you're in big trouble. Been around for a long time and 38 years old. But Pyfer is no joke. Immediate takedowns. Was able to just get that arm triangle in, and yeah, just very incredible performance for Pyfer.
Yeah, no, I liked how it began because I think they traded body kicks. It was almost like, oh, can you kick harder than me? I don't think so. It's like, oh, no, you can actually get kicked pretty hard. So could I. And so
Yeah,
I like the fact that it was about the power in the first round. Pyfer's huge. I didn't realize how big of a man he actually is for middleweight. That dude's got to cut a lot of weight because he looked absolutely massive.
He is massive. Yeah, 4 inches taller there, and yeah, he's big. Yeah, 27 years old and that big. Yeah, for middleweight. Yeah, very impressive.
Huge. He's huge, and then his takedowns. He took Al Hassan with authority. Those look more like football tackles from an NFL linebacker than anything else.
True.
Huge takedowns.
Very
a lot
good.
of power, man.
Yeah. Yeah, no, impressive. He's on a 5-fight win streak, and that head and arm choke was impossible to get out of, and he ended up going to sleep. You saw him trying to tap, but he was tapping with his fist, and so it was unfortunate that he had a nap where he didn't really want to go out, but he did. So Mark Smith is like, I don't know, is that a tap? Oh yeah, he's out. I better get this. That's too bad. Next time, open hand tap, not a closed fist tap.
Yeah, because even when I saw that, I go, I think that's a tap, but since he's about to go out, he was just going to use whatever he had left until he went
out. Yeah, tough. Okay, speaking of guys that are big for their weight class, Joaquin Buckley has found the right division for him. Huge for welterweight, undersized for middleweight, and so he comes in. Great performance from Buckley and a decision over very tough Alex Morono.
Yeah, I love Buckley's style because sometimes with his head movement, the way he bobs and weaves, it reminds me more of Mike Tyson than anything else.
Nice.
Yeah, like he has that movement style to him. and his in and out, and then the strikes that he was given to Morono. Obviously, he was the more powerful striker. He was always steps ahead. Morono was having a hard time trying to find him with his offense. This is just a great win by Buckley. I thought he was actually very close in the third round to taking out Morono.
Yeah.
He just couldn't find the right combinations to put him out, but he was getting there.
Yeah, he was dominating and had him in trouble on a few occasions near the end. Just couldn't land that killer shot, but very convincing win. I had him on all 3 rounds, 30-27 on my cards. Even one of the judges had 30-26 on this one. So impressive performance from Buckley, and he's moving on. Speaking of impressive performances, Drew Dober, another 50K. So we had 50K went to Green, 50K to Pfeiffer, and another 50K went to Drew Dober. This was great performance from him. He always brings it. He's 10-3 now in the UFC, and he really can land some power. He's a very physically imposing guy in that lightweight division as well. Nice powerful knockout win.
Yeah, beautiful win. Celebrated the birth of his new baby with like a beautiful win like that. Glenn seemed a little stiff to me in that first round. Like his movement wasn't just quite there. Maybe it was because of amount of time away from the octagon. But Dober definitely, once he began to turn it up with his strikes, he had Glenn in a lot of trouble. And it was just only a matter of time.
Now he has okay, maybe I misspoke about Bobby Green having the most finishes. Maybe this is wrong. Drew Dober has the most finishes in UFC lightweight history. He just passed Dustin Poirier and Jim Miller, Charles Oliveira, Joe Lozon, Donald Ferguson, Dober. He's right up there on the list. Most knockouts now in lightweight history, passing Poirier, and finishes he's 4th or 5th now. So I liked Dober. I got a chance to meet him when the UFC was here a few years ago. Had a really good chance to chat, and I like this kid, and I think he's got a ton of potential to be a very high ranked fighter, and if he continues with good performances like that, sky's the limit. The featherweight fight between Alexander Hernandez and Bill Algeo to kick off the main card. Really enjoyed this fight as well. Ended up going to a decision for Algeo. What do you think of this one?
I thought that Algeo looked fantastic. Like he's got a very tricky style with his stand-up. And I think Hernandez was trying to navigate how to get in his power shots, because Algeo has a different striking distance than Hernandez. Hernandez needs to get in closer to get his hooks off and stuff, and Algeo doesn't need to do that. He can depend more on his kicks. And I just thought it was just a very smart fight plan for Algeo, and a great win by him.
Very good win by him. Yes, very impressive. Back-to-back wins, senior perfecto, 30-27 on all cards. He called out 5 different people. Usually they call out 1 or 2. 5, it's been a while since I heard 5. He called out Billy Quarantillo, who actually accepted it on Twitter immediately. They posted that. Wants to fight him in December, so make that happen. That'd be great. He also called out Kron Gracie. He called out Anthony Fauci. He called out Mark Zuckerberg and Nate Landwehr. So he's got a lot of opponents lined up. I hope it's Zuckerberg, Landwehr, and Fauci, all 3 of them against Algeo. My money's on Algeo.
Yeah, my money would be on Algeo too. But I think out of all those callouts he made, I think the best one would be Billy Quarantillo, and hopefully they make that fight happen.
Hopefully that happens in December. That'd be great. Okay, there's only a couple fights I want to mention on the prelims. We're running out of time. Karolina Kowalkiewicz, impressive performance. she was on the verge of leaving the UFC. I think she lost 4 in a row, maybe even 5 in a row, five in a row a couple years back, and has turned this around. Now she's on a 5-fight winning streak. Good to see her turn this around, and she's impressive to watch. Getting old and maybe near the end of her career, but very good win for her here.
Oh no, it was a great win. I love the fact that these two ladies were fighting in a phone booth pretty much the entire fight, and that eventually fighting like that became Carolina's advantage, because what she kept landing over and over again, which I noticed, was the uppercut. Yeah. She was able to sneak in that sneaky uppercut time and time again, and that was definitely beginning to affect Velveeta as the fight went on.
Yeah, totally. I do want to mention the Nate Maness victory there. He also got a 50K performance. He's the last 50K handed out. This was a bizarre fight for me because Mendonca just kept going for leg locks after leg lock after leg lock, and he just kept taking huge shots to the head, and he wouldn't let go. He just tried for almost the entire round. He just wouldn't give up on trying to get the submission victory, and Maness just had to keep spinning and moving and going and just landing some huge ground and pound shots until he finally KO'd him. He actually knocked him out twice, maybe 3 times in this one. Woke him up with the second shot after the KO, but finally he gets his 50K. Chris Tognoni had to finally stop the onslaught, but man, like Mendonca wouldn't stop going for the heel hook, the leg lock, whatever he was trying for, and then he got knocked out badly.
Like, if you're gonna go for that, the leg locks or heel hooks or whatever, you have to know that I'm going to be really close to getting it, if not just lock it up and get it. Because if you don't lock it up and get it, you leave yourself vulnerable to getting ground and pounded to hell and back, which is what Maness did, which is it's like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. You don't have this, so I'm just going to keep punching you in the face until you let go. And that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, that's what he did. Yeah, that's what he did. I was really disappointed that the Felipe Lins Ion Cutelaba fight got canceled off this one. Lins ended up getting sick, had to call the doctors in. They checked him out. They kept trying to get him fight ready, and he backed out. He said no chance. The UFC was great and gave Cutelaba his money, and so they did right for him there. And I'm impressed with that. The other fight between Chris Gutierrez and Montel Jackson got canceled. This card really missed, a couple of fights that could have been on there and weren't. Let's turn to UFC next week. Another card that's not got a huge amount of appeal or top fighters in on the list, but Sodik Yusuf and Edson Barbosa are the main event. Tell me your thoughts about this one. This is number 11 against number 13 in the featherweight division.
I kind of like the matchup. I like the matchup. I think this is going to be very much a stand-up war, technical battle. Yusuf has to be very aware of Barbosa's kicks.
Right.
Those things are freaking deadly.
His kicks are so brutal, and I think Barbosa is definitely nearing the end of his career, so I'm leaning more to Yusuf on this. Yes, stay away from those kicks, and he should be able to take the win. Co-main event, I don't really care about. You want to mention anything about it?
No, well, you know what I wanted to mention was the third fight, which is Jonathan Martinez and Adrian Yanez. I think that actually has the potential to be the best fight on this main card.
Yeah. Michel Pereira and Andre Petrosky is on this card. I failed to mention Pereira was supposed to fight the Canadian guy on this card.
The power bar.
Yeah, the power bar, Andre Barrio. and they canceled it. So they've given him this opponent. I need to find out what happened to Barrio and why he couldn't fight. Another fight that dropped off on this one, that was disappointing. This is the last week of Dana White Contender Series. Tomorrow, that's the 10th fight. They've given out something like what are they giving out? 42 contracts so far out of the 9 weeks, and 6 fights tomorrow on the final card. So try to make it. It's been an absolutely amazing, massive, amazing season. They have got so much incredible talent out of there, and I'm blown away how good the Contender Series has got, and how many guys are coming that route now. It is in a pipeline that is no joke. Guys coming in, UFC ready, and they are very lucky that they started this series, and it has created a ton of incredible fighters.
Yes, it has. And like you said, they created that to create a pipeline for them to always have an influx of new blood, new fighters, and it's worked out very, very, very well for them.
Yeah. There has been a defection from the UFC to the PFL. Derek Brunson has signed with the PFL and has left the UFC. I'm sure we'll report on a lot more in the coming weeks as PFL gets stronger and stronger. I do want to mention Bellator. I decided to watch the Bellator card on Saturday night. It was Bellator 300. It was supposed to have 4 title fights, and it ended up having 2. Ryan Bader lost his opponent fight week. Some reason he got sick, could not fight, and so we lost the one fight. The other fight, one of the girls missed weight, so it became a non-title fight. Her name is Lima Lee McFarland. She missed weight, so there was no title on the docket against Liz Carmouche. Carmouche ended up winning anyway and retaining her belt. The main event was to me, a bit of a mismatch. I think Usman Nurmagomedov is far and away the best fighter in Bellator, and super dominant, incredible, and he retained his belt. He is in the mix for that $1 million purse. Will fight in a couple weeks, in a couple months, in the Grand Prix. We'll fight for the $1 million soon, and Brent Primus was, to me, over his head in this one. In pretty incredible performance from Usman Nurmagomedov. Chris Cyborg had a great performance herself, but the card was pretty lacking and really disappointed me in a lot of ways.
Okay, so I didn't see it. So what disappointed you? Like, was the fights just were very lackluster? There was no finishes.
Okay, there was altogether 16 fights on the card, 9 decisions, so way too many decisions. It dragged out. They were very fast and furious. I didn't like the production value of it very much. And there was 3 submissions, 4 KOs out of the 16 fights. Especially being excited for 4 title fights and only having 2. That really was a big disappointment. I thought that the main event and the co-main event were mismatches, so you wanted to see like really good battles, competitive fights, 4 belts, all that. Really disappointed me when those didn't deliver.
Yeah, and that would suck, because that was the main premise of 300, was the 4 title fights.
Yeah.
And then when that doesn't happen, and you only have the 2 title fights, and the 2 title fights that do happen are, well, like I expect like the champion to win, because the challenger's just not up to the same level.
Yeah. In the corner for Usman Nurmagomedov was Cain Velasquez, and it was so nice to see him a free man right now. See him doing what he loves to do, training a champion and lending his expertise to the sport still. Let's hope that somehow he can stay out of prison and will not spend his life behind bars. It was really nice to see him, outside the cage and inside the cage, with a fighter. And yeah, I've missed that guy, and I felt really sick of the whole situation that he's had to go through.
Yeah, me too. Because what family member or who wouldn't do what he did? To be honest with you, yes, I know, like in the eyes of the law, it's against the law. But I'm sorry, man, but like, who wouldn't have done what he did?
Yeah,
that's all I gotta say about that.
yeah,
It's great to see that he's out. To hear that he's out, I'm actually surprised that he's out. To be honest with you, and hopefully, like you said, he can stay out.
yeah, yeah. Let's hope. I sure hope so. There was a lot of royalty cage side there. There was Dan Henderson, Frank Shamrock, Phil Davis, Lorenz Larkin. There was, I love seeing Big John McCarthy there doing his stuff. He was the guy that did the interviews in the cage, and lots of pretty fun people on there. But I mean, all in all, just way too many just way too many decisions, way too many disappointing results in fights that I was thinking I was excited for, and just really landed as a dud. And hopefully UFC 300 will blow this one away. I thought this was the best way for Bellator 300 to just show themselves to the masses. The UFC had done an earlier card, so people could watch both if they wanted, or just stick to Bellator like I had. And it didn't deliver. I've enjoyed other Bellator cards before, and I was maybe put too much anticipation on it being 300 with these 4 belts, and maybe I let myself down being so hyped for it.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that can happen, but also too, maybe that's a good thing for the PFL, where they're just like, all right, you guys tried the 300, you took a big swing, had a big miss. So
yeah,
want it to be better next time. I think it's better that we kind of combine forces, or we just swallow your whole organization, and then we can just make it better.
Yeah, could been, yeah. Yeah, this is probably Bellator's, swan song. I think PFL is gonna take them over. Typically, they don't let the organization continue when a merge like that happens, so they'll swallow them and take all the best pieces. But there have been a lot of good Bellator cards. I've enjoyed many over the years. This one just didn't deliver like I expected to. I mentioned a bunch of people cage side there. I forgot to mention the most famous person cage side at the UFC event. Did you see the GOAT there?
No, wait, no. Who are you talking about?
The GOAT.
Oh, Anderson Silva?
No, I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about any combat sports. I'm talking about some other sport.
Huh? Tom Brady?
Tom Brady. Tom Brady was cage side, hanging out with Dana White. They become best bros. They were hanging out, and they went to U2 after the show together. And Tom Brady was courtside yesterday for the WNBA first game of the final between the Las Vegas Aces and the New York Liberty. So he made a whole weekend of it. Him and Dana are best buddies now. They were hanging, and they went to U2 together.
That is the weirdest combination I've ever seen in my life. Because I believe Tom Brady's a pretty cool dude. Like, so to the point that I can't believe he's getting along with Dana White, because they seem like two completely different personalities.
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
polar opposites for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but hey, good for you, I guess.
They're both kind of Boston guys, because that's where originally Dana's from, and I know he spent a lot of years there when Tom was super successful, and he's never hid that his Patriots were his favorite team. So I'm sure they got to cross paths back in the day back then, but I was quite surprised to see Brady hanging out, and then they're like, "Yo, what's Tom doing here?" And he's like, "Because we're going to the U2 concert together. That's why, shithead." And so I was like, "Oh, okay, hilarious." And then to see him courtside at that WNBA game, who was won by Vegas, by the way. That's the big titanic battle between the two best teams in the WNBA, and Vegas ran away with the opening game of the final.
And was Dana with him at that game as well?
I don't think so. I didn't see Dana. No, I saw Tom. I didn't see Dana.
Oh, okay. Well, that part makes sense.
Yeah, true. That's true. Yeah. Final UFC note. Conor McGregor's USADA paperwork was supposed to be filed today. Dana White said it will be filed. He said today, maybe I better not say today, but it will be filed this week. He originally said today it'll be filed, but he said his USADA paperwork will be filed for sure this week. That means he might be on track for that UFC 300.
That, again, that's what makes sense to me. Because like we're talking about Conor McGregor here, and that's all he's about now, is like just the big stuff, the big time things. Yeah. And if he wants to be on that 300 card, he's got to get back in that testing pool. And that also means that he's probably cleaned out his system so that he can be in the testing pool. So yeah, okay, then he's ready to go.
There was a lot of fighters this week saying how much the Russians still continue to cheat because they can get away with being in their temples and being in their places of worship. And when USADA shows up, they get a pass.
What do you mean? Wait, what do you mean?
Like USADA, when you're in the USADA pool, they can just knock on your door now and come in and test you. But when a guy is, at his place of worship, he gets a pass. He's not allowed to. And some of these American fighters have said that they've heard that the testers have come up and they're training in their places of worship, and they just say, "No, we're talking to God right now. You can't test me. Come back, next time." They show up next time. Oh, yep, still talking to God here. And so they get away with it for a while, and they can still be on the juice.
Interesting. I've never heard of the take of I'm going to use my religion to my advantage to cheat.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know how many times. It'd be nice to know what a counter is. How many times I've said the cheating Russians on these podcasts, but they're cheaters. They always will be. They have been forever. And this does not surprise me in the least that they're trying to buck the system by doing crap like this too.
It's unfortunate. And I get that USADA is actually put in a very tough situation because they're trying to be respectful of anybody's religious takings and stuff like that. And so if you're in a place of worship and you're praying, which doesn't sound like they're actually doing that, it sounds like they're actually fighting. But I get it. I understand that that's kind of like waters that they don't really want to tread into, because then that can blow up into a whole different thing.
Yeah. Dana White has allowed flags back into the octagon. There was a ban on them for a while because of the Russian issues and stuff like that. He said that his mind was changed on the UFC Noche, the Mexican Independence Day holiday, and he said he loved seeing the flags, and he said he's finally just let them come back in. That had caused controversy and had been tough for a lot of fighters. Almost most fighters bring their country's flag into the octagon. Do you think this has the possibility of erupting into a controversy again, bringing them back?
If it does, then they'll deal with it, right? Because he has to know that it could. right? Because there's literally still a war going on between the Ukraine and Russia.
Yeah.
That's not going to end anytime soon. So I think that the the conflict that could potentially happen probably a lot less than what it was in the beginning when the war first started.
Kamzat Chimaev came out with some pretty bad comments against Israel over the weekend. You know, if he was part of any other sporting organization, he would probably be suspended. He'd probably be in serious trouble. We've seen a lot of guys get away with murder and saying whatever they want. With this latest development, Palestine bombing the heck out of Israel and Israel retaliating, and now they're in a full-scale war. I think this has a potential to really blow up and be a really tough thing, especially because they're going to Abu Dhabi pretty soon, and they're going to be in Europe in a lot of cases. So yeah, this has potential to really be ugly for the UFC, and I wish they would suspend guys for things that they shouldn't say. We talked about it a few weeks ago when they were guys were yelling out some slurs against gays and stuff, and I think the UFC has to get better on not allowing free speech when it comes to political things like this. I think this is really has potential to be ugly.
Yeah, it does, and especially when it comes to hate speech.
Yeah,
that I think there's certain categories that you could definitely put in, and when it comes to like just pure unadulterated hate, actually that should never be allowed anywhere. Period. Right. So.
Yeah. When I worked in Saskatchewan, I worked at a mine, and a guy from Palestine was working there, and I got along with him really well. We talked every day, and I learned a lot about the his side of the conflict, and growing up in Palestine. He was allowed to pray 5 times a day during work hours, and you wouldn't believe how much the guys were jealous and hated him for it. They were like, what the hell? Like, I got to keep working while he gets to go pray 5 times a day. This is brutal. This is unfair. And it was, a divisive type of thing that happened on a daily basis there. And, I learned so much more about that conflict that, it's tough. It's tough. The unemployment rate in Palestine is the highest unemployment rate on the planet. So you have these men that are there in Palestine who aren't doing anything and can't contribute and help their families out financially. So the guys that are recruiting them, the militants that are recruiting them, have an easier way to turn them into militants against Israel, because they're already repressed so badly, and they have nothing to take them away from it. And so the way that the oppression is against them is creating, conflicts that keep erupting into fights like this. And there has to be a better way. There has to be a better way. Like you're putting them in a sort of a prison and not allowing them to make money. It's going to turn out badly for you. And I hate seeing it erupting again, and innocent people are dying through this conflict. And it's just something that they just hopefully one day can figure out.
Hopefully one day, but there's a lot of hate on both sides.
Yeah.
And when you have that, then the idea of using logic is kind of thrown out the window. So I don't know if it's ever going to be resolved, to be honest with you. Like, it just looks like it's one of those things, because like this has been going on not just for decades, I'd say centuries,
thousands of years. Yeah.
What I mean?
It's too bad that Israel's surrounded with so many countries that seem to hate them. The whole Middle East, all these Muslim countries seem to just hate them, and but it's too bad. But yeah, we shouldn't probably get into politics talk much on a sports podcast, but once they're allowing now the flags back in, and I don't agree with Russian flags being able to be presented anywhere but Dana White's like, okay, yeah, we had a ban's over. Let's hope that it doesn't cause any big problems in the world, and it's just something where people can celebrate where they're from.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes, right? Like, especially now that this new conflict has started off, we'll see how it goes. Like he said, it's like, if you don't like it, too goddamn bad, right? It's like, well, unless something really, really bad happens, then you're gonna have to take it away again.
Yeah, so. Exactly. Yeah. Okay, man. Well, this was a fun podcast as always. Great to cover everything. A good weekend of sports. I'm less than an hour away from a turkey dinner, so I'm very excited. I'm glad you got some leftovers to tide you over, and enjoy the Monday Night Football game tonight. And yeah, we'll talk through the week going forward.
All right, sounds good, my friend. Enjoy your dinner.
Okay. Cheers, man. Bye for now.
Bye now.
Have a good one. All right. That comes to a conclusion. Another great podcast. That was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Thanks to all of our supporters. Thanks to our partners and sponsors. I want to thank Anchor.fm, the easiest place to make a podcast. Phenomenal at posting on multiple podcast platforms for us. Appreciate all your help. Verbero, the hockey equipment and apparel company, an industry leader in technology, performance, and value. And the V350 stick is a must-have for any hockey player in your family and friends. I want to thank Pampas and Possibilities. They are designers of West Coast beautiful things for your home. Get them into your home and spruce it up. You'll be glad you did. And Forever Living, the aloe vera company for health and beauty products. You can get some at discounted rates on our website. So head over to CompleteSportsMedia.com. Yeah, thanks for the great questions. Thanks for all the likes and subscriptions. I appreciate it. And we'll talk to you going forward. Enjoy the rest of your Thanksgiving weekend. We will talk to you soon. Love you lots, and bye for now.